All right, cool. Okay,
We
you
put
want to
in.
just start again?
Hello, and welcome to the podcast. I am here. I am Victor, and this is my friend Grand J.
Hey guys, great to be back. Apparently, this is a podcast now
Yep, we are doing a podcast. Back
that we
by
that we've
popular
still
demand.
yet to decide how to name. Because apparently, there's a podcast called what was it? Progress Time.
Yeah, there's a podcast called Progress Day, which I thought was
Progress Day,
which I
yeah.
thought was a really good name, and I'm kind of mad they took it. So, right now, do you like the title I gave it in the doc? Right up the top.
Oh, okay,
Welcome to the show.
Uh,
It's called Poopy Poopy Zoopy.
okay. I have some issues against that. I don't know if that fits the Grand J image. This might be a conflict of branding.
That's all right. We'll workshop it.
We'll figure it out as soon as the season ends and I'm challenger, and then I can focus on this.
Fair enough. So
Yeah, I was busy grinding up today, but I kept getting interruptions. Yeah,
So where are you sitting now?
plat 1 right now. Plat 1, 20 points.
Plat 120. I'm about halfway to gold 3.
Yeah,
But I
yeah,
haven't had much time to play. I just like to fool around with some dumb deck ideas.
yeah.
And so I just go into normals all the time. And I tried expeditions, but I didn't go very well.
Yep.
So we
So-
have a lot of cards to go through today.
Yeah, shit, man. They are putting a whole bunch of cards out, and like, ooh, new regions as well. Ooh.
They are going crazy. So they were releasing a champion like once every 3 to 4 days at 2 o'clock in the morning. So I'm sitting here at 2 o'clock in the morning waiting for cards to come out. And then I'm sitting at my computer early in the morning and just doing my business. And then about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I noticed that a video came out an hour ago for another champ. So they are just pumping them out 2 champions a day, which is an insane amount of champions to be releasing compared to what they were. So it's pretty full on. But I guess they only have like 3 or 4 more days until the full release. So they want to get it all out of the way.
Yeah.
So
But,
we need to do a little bit of catch up from where we were last week. So before
Cool.
we get onto the Bilgewater cards, we need to start with the last card for Ionia, which is Mr. Lee. Listen here. What do we have to say about Mr. Lee? Introduce the cards for us.
So 6 mana champion, free 6. When you cast a spell, give him challenger for the round. If you cast another, give him barrier. He levels up when you've cast 6 or more spells that game, and when he's leveled up, he still has the ability to give him challenger and barrier. But when he challenges a dude, he then Dragon Rages them. And Dragon Rage is a 7-cost main deckable spell. It's slow. An ally strikes an enemy and their nexus. If the enemy survives, recall it. So yeah, it's like the Lee Sin ultimate. Hiku!
I wonder if he can insect people.
Yeah, like when you look at the intro video for it, the animation is so cool. Like it picks up the card and it like kicks him into Nexus.
Yeah, and it has
Shit,
that like
man.
that orange like leg just going pah.
Yeah, and the card flies into Nexus. It looks legit.
Yeah.
It looks so cool. Unlike Lee Sin, which I don't think is going to be very good.
So Lee Sin himself doesn't need to see the cards. Well, what do you think about like just like his front side in general? So
Like, okay, so when you look at it, right, on it, like there's a champion that basically has the same stats as Lee Sin, and that's Fresh. 6 cost, free 6, and Fresh inherently has challenger, right? Lee Sin, you have to cast a spell to give him challenge. So inherently, he's just a vanilla 6 cost, free 6 by himself, right? And you got to cast like at least one spell to even make him relevant, and you need to cast 2 spells to make him decent, right? Yeah, like I'm kind of annoyed that he doesn't just permanently get challenger, so you have to do that challenger barrier shit every single turn. The fact that he levels up straight away is kind of cool. So I guess it's not that hard to get 7+ spell cast before turn 6, especially if there's shit like that brilliance orb that Piltover has.
Yeah.
Yeah, Flash of Brilliance. So yeah, it's really easy to get 7+ spells. But then after you play Lee Sin, you still have to cast 2 more spells to make him like useful, or at least 1 spell to give him the challenger. So you got to bank spell mana. So yeah, so he's like a lot of hoops to jump through. Dragon's Rage is cool. Yeah, Dragon Rage is pretty cool. But yeah, it seems really cumbersome because it's a slow ability. So yeah, if your opponent does anything to do it, anything to the guy, so if the guy dies, then they don't get Dragon Rage. So if they do like Glimpse, the one that sacks their own guy, or if they use like the Jewel or whatever, then yeah, that guy just dies and you don't get to Dragon Rage them. Lee Sin would be pretty cool if he got Overwhelm, because I'm pretty sure the Dragon Rage is not his actual attack, so he still has his regular attack as well. So if you give him Overwhelm, he will kick the opponent's guy and then just punch face for 4.
So it seems like when you use Dragon's Rage, it'll hit the ally for his damage, and then the Nexus will take equal damage. So like his front side is 4, assuming you don't give him a buff. So like if you cast a spell on him to give him Challenger, the assumption would be that you probably give him a damage buff or something, but let's say you didn't. He would hit the guy for 4 damage, but then he would hit the Nexus as well for 4 damage, and then when that guy survives, he goes back to your opponent's hand.
Yeah, so that's all the Dragon Rage effect. He still has his attack that has to resolve as well. I'm pretty sure the Dragon's Rage is on top of his regular attack. So I'm pretty sure he gets an attack on top of his Dragon's Rage.
I'm not sure. Like, I'd suppose, because if the ally survives, sorry, if the enemy survives, they would just go back to the hand, and then he wouldn't have someone to hit. But if they die, then they'd just be dead.
Yeah. But like, yeah. So Lee Sin doesn't get to attack face unless he has Overwhelm. It's one of the little things about Overwhelm is that even if if it's blocked, even if you have Overwhelm and the guy dies, you still punch face. So that's why giving Lee Sin Overwhelm is relevant, because he'll bounce a guy, so the guy's definitely gone, and then he can still like do his normal attack as long as he's got Overwhelm.
So then it's kind of like giving him double attack.
Yeah, kind of.
In a way. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would
that's kind of the dream, right?
But you would have to give him Might for something like that.
Yeah, something like that. There's probably a couple other ways to give him Overwhelm. But yeah, so yeah, like overall, like I think he's too cumbersome. You have to hold like combos off for him. Like by himself, he's not even that good. Yeah.
He seems like you would need to spend a lot on this guy. Like he's a good target to buff because he gets additional effects. Well, you don't even have to put them on him, but you're spending like 2 cards a turn, unless you're using these ones that we're going to get to a bit later. You're spending 2 cards a turn to give him both buffs.
Yeah.
So you're constantly going down in hand value.
Yeah, well, like I don't think.
And then if you're playing like another unit that turn, it's like 3 cards a turn.
Yeah. So hand advantage isn't as major a thing in this game as it is in certain other games. So I don't think the hand advantage is such a major deal, but the payoff for Lee Sin isn't that great. I think I've talked about this in other card games, but on attack triggers are really so they're kind of easier to do in Runeterra, but on attack triggers are like basically some of the most hardest triggers to trigger, because if like you might do all this stuff to make him challenger or whatever, but if your opponent stuns him or your opponent recalls him, then you've committed into giving him challenger, but then don't do any but then you haven't done anything with it, right? So imagine you would have to pair Lee Sin with burst spells. You'd have to have Lee Sin burst spell and attack on the same priority window. Because if you play a fast spell, your opponent can just use a fast spell to bounce your Lee Sin or stun your Lee Sin or do something to Lee Sin, and then basically it's there goes your entire game plan for that turn. And so if you don't have the attack token on 6, then this guy's irrelevant. Yeah, because he does nothing on literally he does nothing on defense. Like, yes, you can cast 2 spells to give him barrier. But yeah, like unless you're going to be casting good like spells that turn anyways, yeah, it doesn't seem fantastic.
You may as well just be giving him barrier anyway. You just spend 1 card to give him barrier instead of spending 2.
Yeah, like honestly, I think he should have had just like the first spell you cast just gives him Challenger permanently, and then if he casts the second spell, he gets barrier. Yeah, but yeah, like I think it's underwhelming, but I do understand the support and the themes that they're putting into this set with it.
I think at the very least, you could give him permanent Challenger on his flip, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Or something.
Yeah.
But I see what you're putting down. Is there anything else you wanted to say about Lee Sin here?
Nah, it's gonna be it's a meme. It's a meme.
It's one of those like casual fun champs.
Like,
look at my sick animations.
Like for example, like you look at Hecarim, and Hecarim doesn't even see play. Hecarim is like statistically still like pretty decent because he's like 4/5 and he creates 2/2 tokens when he attacks, right? And he's like not seen any play at all, and like that's Hecarim independent of anything else, right? And yeah, so and arguably Hecarim has more pushing power than Lee Sin, even like with like Dragon Rage Lee Sin, right? But yeah, like Hecarim just like doesn't even see play, right? Yeah, so he's going to be like Hecarim level of playability, I reckon. Maybe even like less. Yeah. So not fantastic in my opinion.
Fair enough. We have some followers from Ionia.
Yep.
So these are very interesting, these cards, I think. Because they have a mechanic where you'll use the first part of the spell, or you'll play the first part of the card and you'll get something else that you can also cast. Or like spells that have requirements to play a card. So the first one is Claws of the Dragon. And this chick is a 2-mana 3/2, and her skill is Summon Me from Hand once you've played 2 spells this round. So she comes out for free at quote-unquote burst speed when you've played 2 spells.
Yeah, it's fine. Like, they're like, even outside of like a Lee Sin heavy deck, there are relevant ways to play this. Because they're like, it'd be relevant in Ezreal Karma Control. And that deck already plays a shit ton of spells. So yeah, it's like I could foresee it like super easily being like relevant. And that deck also plays Rummage as well. So like in matchups where you don't really care, you can just Rummage her away. Yeah, and in the worst case scenario, she can always just be used as like an instant speed blocker because, for example, you play the guy that creates the 2 like mushroom clouds, and so yeah, like you have 2 mushroom, yeah, and so like yeah, even on defense, not Chump One, the 4-cost one, he creates 2 mush, yeah, he creates 2. Chump One's a 2-cost one.
No, that's Clumper Ones.
Oh, okay. God damn, I'm so shit at these card names. Okay, so Chump Womp, yeah, so you can play Chump Womp, and then like yeah, if you've got spell mana and you're on defense, you play Chump Womp, and then your opponent swings in. It's like, oh yeah, Chump Womp can only block my free 2, and then you're like bang bang, you're like, oh yeah, double mushrooms. You play this chick out. Yeah. So yeah, like she's got some cool surprise factor. I think she's pretty playable, mainly because Ionia is pretty big on Karma. So I'm pretty sure Karma decks will play her.
Yeah, true, because Karma will copy spells, right?
Okay, yeah, true. Even if Karma, like, when Karma flips, she's even better. That's for sure. But yeah, like, this is, like, I feel that she's going to be more relevant towards the mid-game when you just need dudes to block shit. Yeah, like, to be honest, when Karma gets to flip, you basically lose the game from there. Like, it's really hard. Like, it's really hard to not die as soon as Karma flips. Yeah. Nothing works at that point. Yeah. Yeah, this fits into it really well. So I like this card. Don't know if you want to do it in any leasing crap, but in Karma stuff, yeah, it's going to be some good spice.
Cool. So next one we have is Scales of the Dragon. When I'm summoned, create a Dragon's Protection in hand. It's not fleeting, So you get to hang on to this card, and it is a 2-mana slow spell, and you can grant an ally 3 health. The buff is permanent.
Yep. Oh, it's permanent. Okay, because I was gonna like tear this thing into shreds. But okay, so it's not as bad as I originally thought because buff is permanent. All right. So when you think about it, okay, basic like if you look at it this way, he's a free cost that kind of draws your card, basically gets your card, right? So there's oh my god. I should bring like a library of cards just so I know what the hell
Why
I'm
don't you
talking
just
about.
keep the client open while we make this, and you
Yeah,
can
I
just
should,
scroll
right?
through.
There's that Ionia elusive chick that the free cost 2/2 that draws your card.
Mm.
Yeah. So basically, this card you lose the elusive compared to it, but you get an extra plus to attack, but you also get like a card which we'll have to judge its quality in a sec. But basically, you're trading +2 attack for elusive. On a free cost card. That being said, though, I feel that the free cost follower hero mark is really strong and really important. So I think Scales of the Dragon is actually underpowered. It's kind of underpowered because you then have to pay another 2 for this Dragon's Protection. So in a way you could pay 5 to make this guy a 4/5. And there's already decks that kind of can do that. They like the what was it, that Illegal Contraption or Remembrance in the Mage Seeker deck. They just bank up mana until turn 6 and they play like a 5/5. And this guy's a 4/5, cost 5 mana. And the Dragon's Protection thing is slow, so your opponent can't counter it. So if you that's the biggest issue with buffs that are slow. Most buffs are playable because they're bursts, but if buffs were slow or fast, it makes them significantly worse because your opponent always just nukes them in response. And I think Dragon's Protection is going to have that same issue. The fact that it's slow.
I think if you're playing it on him, he's very easy to just Mystic Shot or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So arguably, there are other cards that it's a better buff for that you might be running with this guy. But it seems like in this game, stats get less and less important the longer it goes. You're looking more for effects and things like that.
Yeah. So in summary, it's Dragon's Protection is too slow. Not talking about the slow tag, but it's just it is not that relevant later on in the game, and also the slow makes it pretty bad. Slow surprisingly on any sort of buffing effects is just really bad. It's really bad. And paying 2 for a slow spell to give +3 health, even though it's a permanent +3 health, not fantastic in my opinion. So overall, I think Scale of the Dragons is kind of crap.
Next one we have to look at. So we're going to talk about Tail of the Dragon and his tie-in spell, Concussive Palm. Now, both of these can actually be main decked, unlike the last card we just spoke about. So the unit, Tails of the Dragon, is a 3-mana 3/2, and his skill is, when I'm recalled, transform me into Concussive Palm. And the spell is a fast spell, Concussive Palm. Stun an enemy unit, it's fast by the way, stun an enemy to summon a Tail of the Dragon.
There's some fun combos with this card, but it's too mana intensive. Concussive Palm costs too much. So when you Concussive Palm should not have been a main deckable card and should also be cheaper, right? Because Tail of the Dragon being a free cost 3/2 puts him understated, right? With a free cost 3/2, you generally expect a pretty decent power effect on top of it, because you get 2 cost 3/2s, right? And they usually have an ability on top, right? So a free cost 3/2 makes him understated. It means that he'll probably lose fights to even 1 cost cards, right? So then you have to commit a card and commit like mana in order to recall him. So obviously there are certain cards that can be comboed with it, such as Solitary Monk, or Solitary Monk, where a cost can be used to pay, like his effect can be paid for using the cost of a card, right? So I guess that's one good way to use him. But if you were to specifically try to recall him, like just play recall to recall him, you're paying 1 additional mana to get rid of him and just convert him into Concussive Palm. He doesn't even make a Concussive Palm, he transforms into Concussive Palm. And then, so you've already committed at least 3 mana to playing him, and then Concussive Palm stuns a guy, and then you have to, and then you play another Tail of the Dragon. So Concussive Palm is overcosted because it gets you a Tail of the Dragon. But you're only getting back, you're literally getting back what you brought back onto the field. So you're paying an extra 4 just to stun a guy and maybe dodge an ability. So in a ideal, quote unquote ideal situation, you have a Tail of the Dragon, your opponent does like Mystic Shot for some reason at it, right? And then you can be like, all right, or like your opponent does like a combat trick, you recall it to hand, and then you get the Concussive Palm instead. At some point you can Concussive Palm a dude and then bring Tail of Dragon in, but you spent the 4 whole mana from Concussive Palm to just dodge 1 spell and to dodge 1 spell and to stun a guy, because you're getting your Tail of your Dragon back again. So yeah, I think Concussive Palm is woefully overcosted. If Concussive Palm was a 4-cost spell and Tail of Dragon created a different spell, it created a different spell that costs like 2 or something, then that would be more relevant, because Tail of Dragon could come back easily, come back more cheaply. But the fact that the spell to put him back onto the field is really expensive means, why would you jump through the hoops to create a overcosted spell? Yeah.
So, people are already sort of looking at this like it's just an instant play in Yasuo decks. And I think the main reason for that is because most Yasuo decks have dropped Steel Tempest, because Steel Tempest can only be used on the attack turn. And surprisingly, in its place, people are running Decisive Strike, which is a 5-mana spell, which stuns a guy and then gives all your units +2 attack, which is really expensive. But the only reason they were running it was because I can now use it on defense. On attack.
You can use it at fast speed and irrespective of combat,
Yeah, whereas Steel Tempest could only be used when you're on the defense. So that opened up a lot more flexibility to that. But having said that, because Decisive Strike is so expensive, people were only running it as like a 1 or 2 of. It's too cumbersome to sit on like 2 or 3 of these things in hand.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure it's going to see play in Yasuo, but it remains to be seen if it's going to be used anywhere outside of that. I think recalling Tail of the Dragon is kind of a bit goofy in like how much you're like dedicating to get this guy back to your hand so you can keep using Concussive Palm. Like, if you play him and then recall him to get the Concussive Palm, you've kind of just telegraphed that you're holding on to a stun. So I don't really like that about it.
Yeah, that is true. So yeah, it is true. Concussive Palm. Okay, so if you look at it as Tail of the Dragon, to get a Concussive Palm, that sucks. But if you're going to play Concussive Palm, you just treat the Tail of Dragon as like a free bonus.
If anything, I think you'd run Concussive Palm, but you wouldn't even touch Tail of the Dragon in your main deck.
Yeah,
right?
You wouldn't. And then I guess you just Tail of Dragon is the freebie you get from playing Concussive Palm.
Yeah, and then
that
if you
you can do goofy things with.
If you really wanted to like gimmick it up, you could just like keep recalling this guy with the Monk or the Kinku Wayfinder. I can't remember which one it was, but he recalls 1 unit. And the recall spell for 1. And so you can just keep getting excessive value out of this card. But you're still paying 4 for it. And the unit just seems like... If you're having the unit there just to keep recalling it, he's not really threatening anything on the board, right?
Like you
I guess
yeah.
you can run him in to block something and then recall him so he doesn't take the damage, and then you've like kept that like defensive spot there. But
I feel
it's
you
a bit
don't
of a
even
gimmick,
care.
right?
Like
It's
if
a
you
bit of
got
a
recall
gimmick,
shit,
right?
you want to recall more relevant stuff. You want to recall the little swift mouse thing, or you want to
The
recall
little
just
swift mouse thing.
the yordle. Okay, yeah, I forget yordles are called yordles. Like the one that gets +2 every time you stun a dude or something, right?
But I don't know
Yeah,
why you'd recall her.
like if it's going to get like killed by a removal spell or something,
Hmm.
you can just recall it because it's an alternate win condition, or like picking up a Yasuo because it's like it's your win condition. But you don't ever care about saving Tail of the Dragon, you know.
Hmm.
Yeah, so you don't really ever care about saving Tail of the Dragon. So you just let him trade into whatever, you know.
Yeah. Just play the stun and then just use him to like chump block.
Yeah. Yeah. So like overall, yeah, nah. Like Concussive Palm, yes. Tail of Dragon, no.
And I mean, we're talking about the spell in the sense of like a Yasuo deck, so that kind of gives you an idea about how good it is. In general.
True. Yeah.
So the next group of cards are very interesting. So the first one is Sonic Wave. This is a burst spell for 2 mana. Give an ally Challenger this round, and then create a Resonating Strike in hand. It is fleeting. And Resonating Strike is a 1-cost burst spell. Give an ally +2 attack this round. You cannot main deck Resonating Strike. You can only create it through Sonic Wave.
This card is interesting. I think like this card is like interesting. I think he's going to be relevant in more in certain aggressive decks. Because so like Ionia and Piltover, they both have cards that have quick attack. And one of the annoying things with quick attack is like usually your opponent will just like let quick attack guys through. But yeah, Sonic Wave gives some Challenger, and so Challenger with quick attack is actually really strong. Yeah, especially if you've played the Noxus deck where you play that chick that gives your Trifarian 5/1 a quick attack. So quick attack Challenger is really strong.
Yeah, some people do play Legion Drummer as like the only Noxus card in other decks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing is that those sort of aggressive decks, if your opponent is able to stabilize and they can drop a big boy that has some sort of ongoing effect, such as that Noxian 6/6 that stuns a guy every turn, this allows you to at least like remove him, because like outside that aggressive decks, they don't have enough nukage to kill like a 5/5 or a 6/6. So yeah, you need to fight it. And yeah, I guess Sonic Wave gives decks that aren't playing Demacia a way to give their guys Challenger. And then yeah, I guess you can also juice up a little bit further, because like yeah, if you've got like a 4 attack or a 3 attack quick guy, you can just like get that little bit extra juice you need to like run over the top of a guy.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, and it's also it's also 2 spells, so like all of these are in thematic or in support of the like 2 spell cast bullshit dudes.
For Lee Sin, yeah.
Yeah.
And it reduces the hand cost as well. Like you're only really spending 1 card to get both effects, but you do still have to pay the mana. At least it's like 3 mana across 2 cards instead of being like 4 mana across 2 cards, which would be probably a much bigger deal.
Yeah.
And they're both burst as well.
Yeah, so that's a thing. Like another way to look at it is because there's a lot of cards this set that have fleeting, so there's a lot of decks that are just like that. So having fleeting cards actually buffs Piltover a lot, because like they have rummage and shit that like makes you discard cards. And all of a sudden, just playing a whole bunch of cards that like create a fleeting copy of card, you just like recycle them with rummage, or it means like you can do like Draven axes or whatever you want. Just creates an extra bonus thing that you can like discard shit for. Yeah.
Cool. The next one is a 2 mana fast spell called Retreat. It reads, recall an ally to create a fleeting return in hand. And return is a 1 mana burst spell. that reads, summon an ally that costs 3 or less from hand. And same as above, return is not main deckable. You have to get it through use of retreat.
This I actually like. Yeah, this I like quite a bit. So if you've looked so I've recently I've played quite a few decks that include Zed, and Zed's signature card, the one where he switches himself with switches the dude with an ethereal unit. Yeah. Every time I have it, I'm like, I never want to play this card. So why would I want to pay free to switch my dude into a 3/2, and I have to pay the cost of putting the guy down again, right? But this is kind of like that, right? So you can pay free to put it back in your hand and then put that dude down again. Yeah. So I actually like retreat. Yeah, because you're in a way you're spending that free mana. You get that free mana back because you're playing a dude again. So another way to look at it is that it's a way to also copy when I'm summoned effects. So for example, I don't know, you have some sort of 4-cost card or 5-cost card, such as that white tiger thing that gives a guy in your hand +3. So you can play him. Protector. Yeah, you can play him. You can play him. Give a guy.
Pricey though.
No, but you can bank the spell mana. That's what I'm saying. Is that you can play him.
Return.
And then use this, return him to hand, and you gave Zed +3/+3, and then you drop the Zed down. And you still got that dude that you can play on the following turn. So yeah, this allows you to copy a free cost, free cost ally's ability in a way. In Magic the Gathering, we call that effect a flicker. And yeah, it's always a really strong effect. So yes, I think that this card is very strong, and there's going to be some bullshit combo things that you can do with this card.
Yep, I really like it, and for the same reasons. I like opening up the game to these kind of wacky combos, and I like combat tricks and things like that. So I'm looking forward to seeing what people do with it. So I'm ready to move on if you are.
Yep, go ahead.
So we are going to talk about the new keyword introduced into the game a little bit.
For the new region.
That is mainly tied to the new region Bilgewater. But we also got some pretty cool Freljord cards that also carry this tag. It's called Plunder. And of course, with a new region comes a new Poro. We have the Plunder Poro. Grant me 2 random keywords on Plunder. But what Plunder does is a card triggers its Plunder ability when it triggers the ability if you damage the Nexus before playing this card.
Yeah. So if you've damaged the Nexus this round, it gets its Plunder ability. Yeah. When it enters play, which is a Magic the Gathering thing. Pretty much most of the things that are happening in Runeterra, you can say Magic did it first, right? Magic did it.
Magic did it.
Yeah. So yeah, okay, cool. So Plunder Poro, gives him 2 random keywords. Okay, the question is it just all the good keywords?
Because can you pick up can't block?
It could give him shit ones. It could give him invulnerable. It could make him ephemeral. It could make him it could give him a whole bunch of crap ones, right? So if it's 2 good random keywords, then okay, I can see the legitness to it. But if he can have shit keywords, then you'd be like, oh, why did I get a piece of crap one, right?
Oh my god. You fucking get that shit on your Heart of the Fluff turn if you're playing a Poro deck.
Yeah, right.
Ephemeral Heart of the Fluff. Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Poros aren't good, kids. Just saying.
It's just so it's just a meme card for a meme deck, just how Magic Gathering has slivers and shit.
I was gonna say he was the fucking Hercule Satan of Runeterra.
Yeah.
So one thing I will clarify about Plunder effects is that they're basically play abilities. So you can't re-trigger Plunder effects.
Yep.
Which I will talk a little bit more about when we get to the Citrus Courier. But for example, you can't Chronicler of Ruin a plundered guy and then get that plunder effect again. And I would assume that you, like if it's a buff type one, that your unit would lose the buff.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Which they haven't really clarified that, but I'm going to assume it works like that.
I don't like how there's a lot of keywords that aren't defined in this game. Like, what does revive mean? What does revive mean? Like, when I originally thought, like, for Chronicler Ruin or something, the 7-cost one that revives a champion
the strongest
died.
Yeah.
So I thought
Rekindler.
Rekindler. I thought that after you revive a champion, like you can't revive another copy of them. So yeah, it's just like
it creates a copy of that card, right? It doesn't bring that exact card back.
Yeah, so it's like it could have just said play a copy of the card that copy of the strongest champion that died, but it says revive. So it's like, is revive different to play? Because functionally, play and revive are the same thing. But yeah, why is revive a different keyword, right? Like I get thematically it's different. But yeah, so I thought Rekindler, Rekindler couldn't revive more than one copy of it, but apparently you can do that. So yeah. How do we get onto this? Oh yeah, so yeah, reviving these dudes is just kind of just playing another copy of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
or it's summoning another copy of it.
Yeah. So the point was you can't do plunder gimmicks with Chronicler of Ruin.
Yes. If you notice, a lot of the big boys, a lot of the big followers that have really strong effects when they enter play, they're all on play, not when they're summoned. So you can't, do Chronicler of Ruin on them.
Cool. So they did also go back and show off some Freljord Plunder cards. They didn't show off any cards from any other region since introducing this effect, so I guess the assumption would be that it's just a Freljord Bilgewater skill for the time being. Might get something else from the other regions, but we'd have to wait and see.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's an Noxian card with it, to be honest, because Plunder is a very aggressive type keyword, so I wouldn't be surprised if Noxus has 1 or 2 Plunders as well.
Cool. So, and I guess they gave it to Freljord because it's kind of like that Vikings pillaging and raiding type idea. But we finally got an answer to how you summon the Stormclaw Ursine, the 5-mana 6/6 that gives all other 5 power allies overwhelm. So he is actually a 5-cost 4/6 unit called the Ursine Spirit Walker. And if you don't know anything about the Ursine in the current lore, I vaguely understand it. So they are a group of men. They used to just be a bear tribe in the old lore, but now they're just men and women who worship Volibear, or the idea of the Volibear, and they can gain these powers that allow them to transform into the bears, right? So
they're basically bear shaman.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, cool.
So they're a group of people that turn into bears. So I had an inkling that it would be a unit that transformed into an Ursine, but I didn't really think about that until way after we recorded, and I was just like, oh, actually, that kind of makes sense. So the Ursine has a plunder effect. I transform into Stormclaw Ursine.
Yeah. So relating back to last week's podcast, I said that, I don't think, I think that the thing that would summon it costs more or can't be played on turn 5. But I guess technically, in idea I'm right, but in execution I'm wrong, right? So technically, when you think about it, if you don't have some sort of ability or spell to deal your opponent 1 damage, then technically you can't play until after you attack on turn 5, right? So going back to last week, I did say that so Stormclaw Ursine seemed too strong to be curved out on 5. So kind of, so I was kind of right and wrong, right? So yes, he can be curved out on 5, but you also need to have a spell or an ability that deals that 1 damage to your opponent. So yeah, so if you don't have that, then basically he has to be done post combat on turn 5. But I guess you have the ability to play him pre-combat 5. Yeah, so being a base 4/6 is not bad. But like, to be honest, ultimately how important this card is really depends upon your ability to trigger Plunder when you're not attacking. Because yeah, let's say if you're on defense on 5, if you're on defense on 5 and you don't have like summons or like spells to deal damage to your opponent, then like, yeah, playing this on defense of 5 isn't good, because even if you do deal damage later on, he doesn't transform. So yeah, you have to be able to Plunder on the turn that he's played. So he's kind of like what, Radiant Guardian, that 5-cost Demacia chick that gets tough, tough lifesteal.
One of your units needs to die, right? Which would often happen in combat.
Yeah.
I think it's a good and a bad comparison, right? Because on defense, Stormclaw Ursine doesn't do squat.
Yeah.
But on defense, Radiant Guardian still has, like, she's a tough 5 and she's got lifesteal. So playing her after combat still feels good, because you can generate value from her as soon as the next turn, unless they try and gimmick ways out of avoiding her into combating their units. But you still have to wait until your next, assuming you don't rally, you have to wait until your next attack turn to utilize the buff, which I guess isn't too bad because he's a pretty beefy unit.
Yes, 6/6 is
but
big.
it's kind of the equivalent of just like taking the he can block something out of the equation. He's kind of activating on 7, if that's how your attacks are panning out or whatever.
I'm pretty sure you want his ability to be live on 5 or 6, right? You basically want to play him on the same turn that you can deal damage to your opponent, and you want to deal damage to your opponent with an ability. You want this guy pre-attack. If you're not getting him pre-attack, then he's probably not going to be played, in my opinion. You're not going to drop this guy down like post-attack. Like you can, but like, so it's either on if you're on defense on 5, you use some sort of ability to just like sneak 1 damage to your opponent anyways, and then you like drop him post-combat. Or if you have attack on 5, you use that same ability to like deal 1 to your opponent, and then you drop this guy and then swing with your dudes. There's argument for both. Yeah, it can go either way, to be honest, whether you play him on defense or offense, as long as you have a way to deal 1 damage to your opponent, which there are a number of cards. Yeah, the number of spells that can actually just hit your opponent's face.
You were talking about pairing it with Noxus last week, because
Yeah,
there are a
so-
lot of like cheap 5-power units that don't have access to Overwhelm outside of Kato and Might.
Yeah.
Forgot where I was going with that comment, but
But you're saying is that it could also be paired up with Bilgewater as well, because they also have other abilities that can sort of nuke face as well. Yeah, so I can see arguments for playing this in Noxus or Bilgewater as well.
Yep. Cool. So they released 2 more cards. So Freljord's the only really archetype that has access to like ramp style abilities that give you additional mana through both Catalyst and the
Nexus Gem. I think is it Nexus Gem? Yeah. Okay. So yeah.
So stones or something like that.
Yeah. So we're talking about Wolf Rider, who is a 4-cost for free, has Plunder, get an empty mana gem.
Some of the big guys I watch are saying that this makes Catalyst look like a punk. It's just like really crazy good value.
Yeah, Catalyst does suck in comparison to this. Catalyst does suck in comparison to this because Catalyst costs 5, right? The fact that he's like he's a body as well, also means he can just like chump block a dude, and he's got 4 attack, which means he can like trade up into like reasonably mid-sized sort of dudes. For some reason, he's got Overwhelm, which is like the part that's going to be least relevant.
I don't generally think Overwhelm on a 4-power unit is super good. But like the best argument you can make is that it feels less good to like run
kill a spider,
like kill a spider, right? Yeah, it feels less good to run like a spider into it, or to like you don't want to trade up into this guy, right?
Yeah, it makes decks I want to stall a little bit easier. So yeah, I think this is fine. Although you do have to trigger off the Plunder, and you don't have exactly good dudes to like deal damage to your opponent in order to trigger off the Plunder. So you might have to like use a spell in order to do it.
Yeah, they do. They got the fucking Ember Maiden, dude.
Yeah, like
start, deal damage to everyone. Play this guy the next turn.
But it's also burning your own face, like just to trigger off this. Like this, like I don't know if there's any other relevance to playing that chick in a ramp deck. Other than to trigger off this guy's Plunder, doesn't seem that great because she has no endgame value. Because it seems like most of the endgame decks are like karma decks or decks that like are pretty spell reliant. It seems way easier to have just use a spell to trigger this guy off rather than get that chick to activate.
Must feel pretty bad being Freljord and having your big dick card being something like War Mother's Call, which is a really like powerful card on paper, unless you're playing against Karma Ezreal. Doesn't give a shit if you're going to summon a guy now and every turn after when I can OTK you with Mystic Shots.
So Wolf Rider's fine. But yeah, you obviously just have to like build your deck more around being able to ramp it out.
Cool. Next card, my dude.
Tusk Raider, 8 cost 7/7. Plunder, double the power and health of allies in your deck, and on play, draw a Sejuani. Okay, so everyone thinks that this card is like really strong. 8 cost is kind of expensive. Although its power is pretty legit. Like if you were playing like a mid-range Freljord something deck, this actually is pretty strong. And I guess this like goes in with the theme of Freljord's like buff dudes and deck ability. 8 though. 8. How many more dudes are you gonna draw after 8 mana, right? Like unless you like reduce the cost of this guy.
Right? They're only in your deck that's buffing.
Yeah.
So you probably want to have a bit of a board state at this point. And like, how many more units are you going to be playing?
Yeah, that's a thing, right? Like you get 2 more turns max, right? Because as soon as it gets to turn 10, as soon as it gets to turn 10, you've either won against aggro if you get to turn 10, or against control you've lost the game, right? So it's only relevant when you and another mid-range deck are both like slowly stalemating it out, right? So I guess this card's relevance is in the mid-range mirror matches.
The mid-range of mirror matches.
Yeah, like it's like I don't think it's probably too hard for Freljord to deal some like damage with Plunder to the face, because you're playing those 5 costs like 5/5 guys that give all you guys +1/+1. So yeah, and they're beefy dudes. They just go in. Your opponent doesn't want to fight them.
So I guess the question to ask here. So in the ideal scenario, let's say you trigger a Wolf Rider, you trigger a Catalyst Gem, and then you have like a Warding Stone on the board. So you've gotten to this unit like 3 turns early. Now you've played it on 5. Do we have a pretty optimal scenario going on right here?
Okay, against aggro, you're dead. Against aggro,
sure. Yeah. Fine. We've all come up against
with
PNC
Draven,
Noxus
whatever.
Draven, right? Yeah. Fucking Boom Crew rookies.
Yeah, right. Against mid-range, if you treat it as a ramp deck that doesn't do any of your endgame, then there's probably some legit things you can do. But here's the thing: you then have to hope you draw dudes, right? So if you drop a Tusk Raider on 5, right? If your next draw is a spell, you've got no value out of Tusk Raider. If your next spell if your next draw is another spell, then it's like you've got no value out of Tusk Raider, right? Although I guess technically your Sejuani is big AF at that point. Because Sejuani doubles before you draw the Sejuani.
Yeah. I guess that's an important thing to make clear. Sejuani gets the buff.
Yeah. So I guess that's why they put the Plunder above the play.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't like. Aren't there cards in Shadow Isles that can like reduce the cards of shit? Like, there's that one dude that can like reduce the cost of a card.
Oblivious Islander will reduce the cost of a card
and make it ephemeral.
And make it ephemeral.
Yeah.
So
and
if you paired it Shadow Isles, then you could feasibly get it out a turn earlier.
Yeah.
You do lose the 7/7 body at the end of the turn.
Nah, you don't care. You don't care. You just want to get those double power dudes, man.
Yeah.
And then like you have Glimpse, which like you get Glimpse, so you can just like draw more cards to get more of those double power dudes.
Yeah, true. So like you play it on 7, you've got spell mana banked, and then you glimpse it, draw 2 cards. Now you've got Sejuani and potentially like 2 10/10 units or some shit.
Yeah.
What about Tusk Raider Yetis?
The one that gives you top card +3/+3 allegiance? Is that no?
That's something else.
I don't know which Yeti you're talking about.
No, just the Yetis. Fucking
okay. Tusk Raider plus Yetis.
Play a Yeti.
I don't like here's the thing though, right? Like the first 3 turns, you're stacking Yetis into your deck, but then so this will double the power of the guys in your deck, right? But Yetis put Yetis into your deck, or Yetis summon Yetis, so they don't get the benefit from this. I don't think it doesn't say like it's not like Horror Snacks where it says all guys will get that benefit.
Yeah. So when the little Yeti dies, it shuffles 2 into the deck. And
but
when the Avarosan Trapper hits the board, it puts like 3 Yetis at the top of your deck or some shit.
It puts 1 at the top of your deck.
Okay.
Yeah,
1 within the top 3 cards or something like that.
But you would have drawn them by the time you dropped Tusk Raider.
Sure. I'm just me.
Yeah. So
a lot of people are also saying that they think every region will have a top end card like this. So of course, like Swain got the Leviathan, draw a Swain, and then it has its effect. So a lot of people are saying that there will be like these fucking transportation units that bring you like big guy.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. Okay.
But who would be the units to get it?
So like it seems like they're just giving it to the new champions at this stage, right? So what? So you got Sejuani's got Sejuani gets 1. Swain's got 1. How they reveal? Oh yeah, so like Vi, I don't know, maybe like Vi-mobile or some shit.
Vi stands for Vi-mobile.
Yeah.
Do you want to look at some build order cards?
Yeah, cool.
So, we're going to look at what a lot of people are calling a non-viable card in competitive play, but is the ultimate Plunder Enabler Warning Shot. 0 mana burst, deal 1 to the enemy nexus.
Basically, as far as I'm concerned, this basically just says discard a card to trigger off Plunder this turn. I don't know, like Plunder decks that are relying on this card, like it's going to be dependent upon if there's a way to create a warning shot or to search warning shot. That's going to really define these, because like it seems like Plunder, in a lot of cases, you can always just like you can get Plunder to resolve during your combat, but the turns where you want to play a guy on curve, then warning shot is the only way. Like warning shot is required in order to plunder during your opponent's turn if you want to plunder on curve. I think it's legit. I think it's legit. Plus there's some interesting combo decks that can work with this as well. Like playing this with Ezreal is pretty good. It gets you extra damage after you've got the Ezreal shit going. And there's also like Kegs shit that you can do later. By this card itself, it is a combo card in my opinion. So it's definitely a combo card. It's not an aggro card in any way. You're never going to want to chuck this into an aggro deck.
Sure.
But yeah, so like I think it's going to be a key component in combo decks. Yeah.
Like a lot of the top guys, I'm talking about like 2 YouTubers that I watch who reviewed these cards. Like they've both said that warning shots kind of like not worth it. There are better ways to enable Plunder, even though this is 0 mana. It's not really worth the slot in your deck. I'm not tremendously sure if I agree with it, because surely there are times where like you want to play a unit out and get its Plunder effect straight away, instead of waiting for like combat to resolve or some shit.
Yeah.
Or maybe like you thought you might get a damage through in the combat, but oh fuck, here's a Jury Rig, is Scrap Scuttler, now you don't damage my Nexus. So you're not able to trigger the Plunder effect, but you really want to play like Citrus Courier or some shit right now. Like you can just pop out Warning Shot. I feel like it's just one of those cards that, like, unless they release better versions of Warning Shot, it's a card that just appreciates. Like, the more Plunder effects that come out, the better this card gets, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that if this set doesn't have one, the next set will have a card that creates a Warning Shot.
Yeah.
Pretty sure, yeah. So yeah, so it's just a combo enabler for this deck. If you're playing a Plunder heavy deck, I don't see why you wouldn't run it unless you have other ways to do it. But then again, you might run it as a 1-off or 2-off just to hedge those chances, you know. Yeah, so I think it's going to be played. Next card, Jagged Taskmaster. 3 cost for free. Plunder. Grant 1 cost allies everywhere +1/+0.
1 cost allies get 1 bonus attack.
Interesting. Like I do know. Okay, so apparently there's a meme deck. Actually, this can't be played in a meme deck. So it was what, Baron von Yip. There's this guy that gives all your 1 cost guys +1/+1 or some shit. Gives them some sort of.
I think it's so.
+2/+2.
I think Baron von Yip gives guys +2/+2, because I remember Mogwai built a joke deck with Yetis, because like enraged Yetis are 1/5/5s. Like if you have Von Yip on the board, they become 1/7/7s.
Yeah.
But what he ended up discovering was that it was way better to just buff like spiders and make spiders 3/3s.
Yeah.
Or like because making Yetis 7/7 from 5/5, it's like
it's not a huge difference.
It's not a huge difference, right? But like he was discarding Scrap Scuttlers, and he was also playing Poros just to like help him, just to help him get through those first lot of turns. And he's putting down like 3/3 Scrap Scuttlers, 3/3 Poros and shit like that. And they were putting in way more work than the Yetis were.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess like for that meme deck, this is something that you can add to it. Yeah. Obviously, it's like the thing is that not all cards are designed for competitive play, and this is one of those cards that's designed to have an interesting deck you can build around it, and there's some interesting things you can do with it. Yeah, so it's good. It's good enough for a meme. This one's for the memers out there.
Cool beans. So Citrus Courier. He is a 6 mana 4/5 Plunder, heal allies and your Nexus 3, then rally. So, one thing Mogwai and Swim was saying is that this makes Tiana Crown Guard look like a bit of a chump. And Tiana doesn't get a huge amount of play, so she's like 8/7/7 tough rally when I'm summoned. But I don't know if it's tremendously fair to compare him to Tiana. And the reason I say that is because Tiana is an on-play effect. First of all, like, different regions are going to have strengths in different places. I'm sure we all understand that. When Tiana hits the board, you rally. That's fine. But, like, the only situations I really saw Tiana getting played over something like just using Relentless Pursuit, which is 3 rally, right? You can kill Tiana with Chronicler of Ruin and then re-rally.
Oh, does she say summon? Okay.
So she's on summon.
Yeah.
And that's about the most play I've ever seen her get. Now, Citrus Courier can't do that because it's a Plunder effect. So you can't just keep re-summoning the Citrus Courier to keep healing your allies and rallying. But Tiana will keep rallying when you sack her. And then you've just got this constant 7/7 body every time you resurrect her. So I'm not super keen on that comparison. But he does rally at 6 mana, and he does heal your units, so you can run your shit in, and they'll all take damage or whatever. But then you play him, and then they get juiced up and they're ready to go again, which is kind of the point of this guy, I'd say.
I think he might have some interesting things that he can do in more mid-ranger decks, like play Bannerman with just like 3 guys. So it's like, because like you got these big beefy guys, and like the thing is that the issue with those sort of mid-range decks is that they sometimes can't close out games fast enough.
Yeah. I find that with my Bannerman deck. So like I tried cutting out Relentless Pursuit, and I was having a really hard time.
Because like, for example, you like against say an elusive deck or something. Like you might have board control, but you can't stop like that extra 1 or 2 elusive guys that's going to deal that extra like 6 damage that they need to like clinch the game, right? So yeah, you got your fat boys, you send them in, and then like your opponent maybe like chump blocks a couple, and then you drop this boy and send them in again.
I think Citrus Courier in some ways can be compared to a discount Brightsteel formation. Because Brightsteel comes out and gives all your guys barrier, and then you attack, right? Like, it doesn't have rally, of course. But Citrus Courier is like 3 cheaper. He comes out and he heals everyone for 3. And then he can go again. Like, I know, like we were talking about last week, how heal effects aren't that relevant in the game.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's not a terrible comparison to make.
Barrier's legit.
I know Barrier's a lot better. Like, don't get me wrong, that's why I said he's like a discount, weaker version that you can play earlier.
Like, Bannerman is... Oh, wait, which guy you talking? You're talking about the big guy, right? The 9 cost guy that gives
9 cost. Hits the board and
that
gives everyone.
That gives rally, right? That gives barrier, right? Now I think that these fulfill very different things. That guy is kind of like, oh yeah, once you got the field locked down, you just slowly pressure your opponent over. So it doesn't close out games, but it just like makes it really hard for you to lose, or it just gives you one really good like set of attacks, right? This guy is, if you've got board position but you don't have time or speed, this will push the game over. Probably one of the most important things to note about this card is whether his Plunder ability creates a skill or not. Because is it deniable? Because rally is deniable, like what's called the Relentless Pursuit is deniable. If this guy is like, if his ability is not deniable and not burst, then that makes this guy much stronger, right?
I think it was confirmed on Swim Stream that it's not deniable. I think he had a rider in there that said that like Plunder happens straight away.
Oh, then that is like fantastic.
I think he's good. I think he's really good.
Yeah, like okay. Like if it's not deniable, then like this goes up by a lot, in my opinion. Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
You want to move on?
Yep. Next one, 7 costs. Smooth Soloist. 7 costs, 3/4, so it's understated. Plunder. Reduce the cost of allies in your hand and deck by 2.
Is this the best my team has to offer?
So there are some interesting things with this card, like the fact that. Alright, the fact that, okay, so usually in certain card games, there's usually restrictions on cards that can be reduced to like a cost 1 or cost 0. But in this game, you can reduce cards to cost 0 and there doesn't seem to be restrictions on it. So basically, the way I see it, this makes all your 2 costs and lowers free. And if you remember, like there was some shit in Piltover that that incentivized you playing more 2-cost dudes. There was that chick that if you had like if you played a 2-cost guy, you draw a card or something. Wait. Oh wait, nah, they become 0 costs. Nah, because But like
It's not 2 or less. They have to be 2 cost.
exactly
So
2.
you'd
But
be
yeah,
filling your deck with 4 costs in order to trigger that.
yeah, no. Like I meant, if you had 2 cost guys,
Yeah.
you could use that to like filter through cards, and then like play this chick, and then all your 2 costs become 0s. Then you can just spam all the 2s out in your hand and deck.
Okay.
But
they're fleeting cards.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
She
like
also only reduces units. She can't reduce spells.
yeah. So like yeah, so just thinking about this card, like she's understated, although she is elusive. Reducing the cost of allies in your hand and deck by 2. Like the thing is that, like, unless you're cheating her out, it's really hard to make use of this card. Yeah. Yeah. I think she's a meme. Although there's probably some deck that's going to... There's probably some combo deck you can play with this card. Wait. Reduce the cost of allies in your hand and deck by 2. No, this... Okay, wait. Okay, I take this back. All right. This card is... This card is more legit than I thought, right? Okay. So, I thought it... Okay. I thought it made cost of 2 cost guys into 0, but it reduces all cost of guys by 2, right? So this okay. So basically,
I was wondering why you were only talking about 2 cost units.
Yeah, dropping 9s down to 7 or dropping 10s to 8 is actually really good. Yeah, even though the body of this chick is like pretty bad. Although the fact that she's a 3/4 elusive is actually kind of good. So like a lot of the more aggressive decks have elusive dude. So you can drop this dude, block an elusive dude, trade against like a monk, and then next turn you get to drop like a 10 cost dude. Yeah, you can drop like Ledros or drop another one of the big boys.
Ledros.
Yeah.
At the very least, after he comes back to your hand, he goes back to his normal cost. Otherwise, that would just be fucking...
Yeah.
Playing cheap Ledros. Oh.
Yeah, depends. Like, okay, so this card really depends on what you pair Bilgewater with, and whether that pairing has synergy. So yeah, there's 2 ways to go with her. I think she's either going to make cheap guys free, or like basically kind of ramp you up to more expensive guys. Yeah.
But what more expensive guys are worth playing right now?
We don't know.
So
but
like Tusk Raider, for example, is an 8. The one we just talked about.
Yeah.
And you're making that a 6 after you play this chick. Or Nautilus. Nautilus goes from a 7 to a 5. And Nautilus seems like a pretty hard guy to get out. We're going to talk about him later.
You want like a big game-ending dude. Like you want the equivalent of like a Ledros or a Karina, or like a card that has just like a game-ending card, right? Those are all like kind of just like extend play sort of cards. You want a card that's just like, this is the final card I need to play. Bang. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm interested to see what she gets played in.
Definitely, like, probably a control deck.
Yeah.
But control decks are really complex, so it's like really hard to like theory craft all the control deck bullshit you can do. But yeah, it seems like with how the game is like pretty aggro at the moment, they want to make more mid-range relevant decks. Yeah, and give some control decks some other toys to play with, rather than having to sit all the way to 9 mana. Yeah.
Cool. All right. So now it's time for our first Bilgewater champion. We're going to talk about Fizz. So Fizz is a 1-mana 2/1, and his skill is, when you cast a spell, give me elusive and stop all enemy spells targeting me. When you've cast 6 spells this game, I turn into a 3/2 with the exact same effect. Gain elusive after you cast a spell and stop enemy spells targeting me. And when I strike the Nexus, I create a Chum the Waters. Chum the Waters is a 4-mana slow spell. You give an enemy vulnerable, and you get to summon Longtooth. Longtooth is the shark from the game that pops up and eats a guy. He's a 5/1 with Overwhelm. So, sort of a lot to unpack here.
I didn't know he was called Longtooth. Okay, I thought he had like a different name.
I
like
heard
a meme
it
name.
a long time ago,
Okay.
but I did not commit that name to memory, so it was
Mm-hmm.
like a nice little reminder that, hey, the shark has a name, boys.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, I was thinking from my recent games that I've been playing, if you play if you're an aggressive deck and you play a one-cost dude, like if your opponent has Piltover in it, they just Thermo Beam it on turn 1 every single time. It's like you play a Spider turn 1, they Thermo it. You play that chick, Thermo it. You drop Fizz on turn 1, they Thermo it. But you play Fizz, they Thermo it, and then you play that 0-cost Bilgewater, the shooty one. You warning shot, dodge it. And now you're elusive and you hit them in the face. Yeah. The fact that he's got nothing really kind of sucks. It's like
the Lee Sin situation all over again, right?
so he doesn't do any. Okay, so he doesn't really do anything until much later. So even though he's a one-cost dude, he doesn't really do anything in the early game because you don't want to cast a spell every time you want to just swing in and with an elusive dude, right? And yeah, so if he doesn't have elusive, he's crap. You know, like. Yeah, anything will kill this guy in combat. So you can't ever use this guy for offense or defensive combat. It doesn't even remove him. Like his ability doesn't even remove him from combat either. So what? You're gonna play a spell, give him elusive, send him in. Yeah.
So Riot haven't really clarified, to my knowledge, if this stops unit skills. So things like that Avaros and Archer come out and shoot a guy for 1 damage.
True.
It's not clarified whether or not you can stop that.
Or stuns and shit.
Because it only says spells. And if you want to look at some consistency from other cards, like Deny says stop spells and card skills, etc.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, that's something that's worth checking. I wouldn't be surprised if they did.
I feel like it should. I don't think it would make sense if he was vulnerable to things like that. But then it sort of raises more questions about Gangplank Shredder, for example.
Yeah.
He comes out and he deals all enemy units 1.
Yeah.
So if you cast a spell with Fizz to stop that,
it definitely doesn't stop because it's not targeting him.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so that's an AoE. It's that.
So then
Magic did it.
So then Withering Wail would also hit him.
Which one's Withering Wail?
So Withering
the one that hits a 1/4. Yeah.
Deal everything 1. It's a spider's counter.
The 5-cost one. Yeah. I know. I've been seeing that shit a lot. That would hit him. I'm pretty sure. So because they're not targeting it. Yeah. So Fizz is still ultra killable.
And he can challenge him.
Yeah. So yeah, Fizz is a meme. And then Chump the Waters is so expensive. 4-cost and slow. And also, it says granted enemy vulnerable and summon a Longtooth. If your opponent kills their guy in response to Chump the Waters, do you still summon a Longtooth? Because you know how there are spells that say, the spider one, it's drain a guy and also create a spider. If your guy dies, you don't get the spider, right? So if you Chum the Waters and the opponent kills their own guy, you don't get Longtooth, right?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. I would want to still get Longtooth, to be honest.
yeah, obviously, right?
Man. Yeah, no, it's a good question. I'm not sure.
Yeah. And it's a 4-cost Chum the Waters. You're gonna pay 4, give a guy vulnerable. They get a free Longtooth, and then your opponent just uses a tiny ass spell to kill Longtooth, and then you're all right, cool.
People are talking about doing shit like standalone Fizz and shit like that. I don't think you build a deck around Fizz, man. I think you build Fizz into a deck if you're gonna play him.
Standalone. Okay, here's the thing. Standalone is only good because you can play a big dick dude on free and make him even bigger dicked, right? Fizz isn't good early on. Early on, early on, like the stand card, like just like oh yeah, cool, just like makes him elusive. But you'd rather have like buffed up a monk. Yeah, you still have to cast 5 more spells at that point on.
I feel like ideally a good player probably just wouldn't be using spells against Fizz, right? Because it's just like, well, they're just gonna neg it anyway.
Like,
so, and he's not a threatening unit on his own that you would really want to be spending a lot of time trying to remove it.
Like elusive is more of an aggro type card. Yeah, and so like, but the thing is level up you cannot do in any sort of aggressive deck. Like no aggressive deck can cast 6+ spells. Unless there's some sort of like mage aggro deck where you're just like throwing lightning at face every single turn. But in which case Fizz has no synergy with that. So Fizz's level up has no synergy. Fizz's level up is only a byproduct of your opponent wasting shit on Fizz. But there's no reason for your opponent to waste shit on Fizz because he's not scary.
So I guess the question becomes, is Longtooth scary? Is Chum the Waters scary?
Like,
that seems like more the reason you'd be playing Fizz, is to level him up and then just like keep playing and play
Chum the Waters. Yeah, Chum the Waters isn't even scary, man. Okay, so if you're playing a spell intensive deck, you're 99% playing either Ionia or Piltover, right? And so like with those sort of decks, you're worried about like a whole bunch of other stuff like Will of Ionia and shit, right? And Chum the Waters as a 4-cost slow spell, you don't even care. It's like and when you think about when those decks they have their champions like level up from playing spells and shit, would you rather have a leveled up Fizz or a leveled up Ezreal, right? It's like Ezreal will just win the game. Even if you level up the Fizz, I don't even give a shit if he punches me in the face for 3 damage and he gets a Chum the Waters. Yeah. I'm much more worried about my opponent like dropping an Ezreal or like there's some other dudes that we've talked about that level up with a whole bunch of spells. Like Lee Sin and shit, right? Yeah, I'm more worried about Lee Sin kicking my shit into my face than Fizz Chum the Watersing me. Because Lee Sin, he levels up on like what 7 spells or some shit. So I'm way more afraid of a Lee Sin like kicking my shit in rather than a Fizz getting a Chum the Waters.
Be way more afraid of Lux.
Yeah.
Lux needs to cast a 6-mana spell to get a free fleeting Final Spark. But then like Final Spark just like, okay, here's something that's gonna kill your dude. Do something about it. Like,
if Longtooth had like an untargetable ability, that would be more relevant because you know he's kind of like a shark that's like under the water and he jumps out and shit, right? So maybe if Fizz's leveled up ability has something that said when you cast a spell, give him elusive and give your and dodge all shit targeting Fizz and Longtooth, that might be more relevant. You know, if Fizz's leveled up ability affect him and like Longtooth.
So it says when you cast a spell, give me elusive and stop all enemy spells targeting me. So he can like remove a whole chain. Who's gonna fucking line up a chain of spells to kill Fizz?
There's guaranteed there's gonna be some games where like there will be like a game that's won or lost because a Fizz is going to attack through, and then you're going to have to chuck everything you can, and you're going to hope that your opponent doesn't have as much shit to protect him, so you're just going to keep chucking shit at him because you win or lose based on that attack.
But like the Fizz player would have to keep playing a spell in response to you, so like it removes the whole chain, right? But
what I'm saying it's a bidding war. Yeah.
What I'm saying is, yeah, it removes the whole chain, but isn't it a little bit redundant removing the whole chain? Because they're only gonna play like what? He's 1 life. They might play Vile Feast, so they spend 2, use Vile Feast.
Okay,
and then you might use a spell to get rid of Vile Feast, but then they might play Mystic Shot or something, and so now you got to play another spell to get rid of Mystic Shot.
Yeah.
Whereas the card kind of makes it seem like, oh yeah, people are gonna line up like 6 spells to deal with Fizz, like a big dummy.
Yeah, no, like Yeah. Well, okay, it's only relevant because Fizz is small enough to a point where pretty much any nuke spell will kill him. If Fizz was like, I don't know, a 6 or 7 health guy, and your opponent requires 2 spells, then you can sort of like start like, yeah, then you can start doing like 2-for-1s and shit.
Standalone comes in. People are going to be doing that day one. You know that, right?
And I'm gonna be sure, fight me, bro. And then they're gonna be like, no, I don't want to. And I'm like, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Great card. You want to talk about Attune?
What?
Attune, the new keyword that was released.
Oh, okay.
With,
all right. Okay. Just before we move on, Chum the Waters is also a main deckable spell, but it seems bad. All right, moving on. It's slow as well. It's like, yeah, it's slow as well. So yeah, you can't even like vulnerable.
It wouldn't be much use as a fast spell. Like it could only like. You're basically saying you want it to be burst.
There are no. There's a difference between slow. Okay, there's a difference between slow and fast shit, right? So there are ways to time things so that your opponent doesn't get a chance to respond with fast shit, right? So for example, if Chum the Waters is fast, if your opponent played a spell, you can then play in response to that. Yeah, play Chum the Waters in response to that. You will vulnerable a guy, and then their spell will resolve, and then it goes straight to your priority, and you can go straight attack with the long tooth, right? But the thing is, because it's slow, your opponent will always have 1 block of priority in order to kill long tooth. So if you're like, your opponent will always be able to kill long tooth with a slow spell before you get the chance to attack with long tooth.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe they'll change it. They might have to. I think a lot of the champions revealed for next set probably need buffs.
Yeah.
So now you're ready to talk about Attune.
Yay! Cool, Attune.
So Attune, when you play a card that has Attune, you get to refill 1 spell mana when they are summoned. That's how Attune works. Are you impressed?
It is potentially OP.
Really?
Yes. In most games, abilities that refill mana usually break the game to the point where they have to be banned or nerfed. Okay, so yeah, if you've got like a whole archetype of these guys, then the game gets really messed up, right? Okay, so for example, Shell Shocker is a 1-cost 2/1 that also refills 1 spell mana. Like if you in any sort of like combo decks can go infinite with this, right? So if you have any card like that can reduce their cost, such as like Mobilize, if you mobilize these guys, they now become 0 mana guys that refill you 1 mana. You're getting positive mana, right? So as long as you have ways to draw cards, you can infinitely draw cards, play these guys, gain mana, and then use that mana to draw more cards, right? So like if you were to do like progress day.
Mm-hmm.
Progress day. Okay, so like yeah, think about this, right? You can go Heimer into inspiration. Okay, so like let's say if you mobilize some of these guys, you can play Heimer, play these guys, gain extra mana, and then okay, hold up. No, what I meant was you go progress time, draw a whole bunch of Shell Shockers, and they all cost like -1. Then you just drop them. You get 3 additional mana. You can play more shit, right? So yeah, so you can do some like really cool bullshit loops with these. I'm pretty sure. So yeah, I think Attune is gonna break the game.
Even though it only fills spell mana.
Yes.
Okay. This seems like a later in the game's life thing.
It's like, okay, either this at some point during the set, it's gonna be the most abused, uninteractable deck, or at some point there's gonna be just the one card that tips it over the edge.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
okay,
so different to the tune of what I've been hearing, but
really?
I'm glad I heard it.
Shell Shocker is like super legit in my opinion. If you're playing a like spell-based control deck like Karma or Ezreal's Knight, you can drop this on turn 1. You drop this turn 1 against an aggro deck. He can trade against a dude, and then you can then thermo beam a guy. So like yeah, your opponent plays a spider turn 1. You drop this guy, and then you thermo beam the next guy. You thermo beam the guy, and then your opponent's like, oh yeah, shit, okay. Like I'm just playing raw dudes, and you're playing dudes and just like thermo beaming my guys, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, nah, like I think this is very strong because it's a whole archetype, man. So I think like yeah, the 1 cost and 2 cost ones, if there's any way to reduce their cost, they just become like OP.
Okay. So I was gonna go into Bubble Bear next. Because Bubble Bear is 3 mana 0/6 with Attune and Elusive. So he's this game's attempt at making something that can stall out elusive guys for a while.
Yeah. Alright, okay, so Bubble Bear is pretty interesting. Yeah, stalling out elusive like what's okay, so one of them's elusive and the other one's Attune. So he can technically attack. Okay. Yeah, so he can technically attack even though he's like 0 power. Yeah, he's a wall. I don't like okay. Yeah, he's a wall. He's probably gonna be way more relevant if you can people are gonna use him less as a defensive wall, like as a mute shieldy wall, and probably gonna use him as a shield bludgeoning wall. People are gonna like because health is way more better than attack in this game, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So giving +1 attack to a guy that's small sucks, but giving +1 or 2 attack to like this guy or Braum, and they just keep like trading into dudes like free 2s and shit is like really good. So yeah, if you can get this guy any sort of buff, then he's just gonna kill like elusive guys for days, right? Yeah, this guy has a place, but it's gonna be very meta dependent. And also the fact that he's a Attune is kind of good because it's just like if you're getting rushed down by like Kinko elusives, then you drop this boy. You've also got mana to cast some shit. Yeah.
Play him on turn 3, get 1 mana back, defend against an elusive unit, and then play Elixir of Wrath. Give him 3 attack. Kill that bitch.
You can like
the surprise.
You can play. All right, let me think about this. Right, you can play Shell Shocker on 1. The next card, Coral Creatures on 2. Play this guy on 3. He takes a hit, and then you can take Heart on the same attack. After that attack.
Yeah. If you get all 3 of these guys on curve, we're going to talk about Coral Creatures in a sec, but if you get all 3 of these guys on curve, you've still banked 3 spell mana by...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you can block with the Bubble Bear and then take Heart.
Yeah. Damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, like mana manipulation that isn't overcosted is really messed up. You know, like these guys, they refill 1 spell mana. And spell mana inherently is rampable, right? Because you can bank free mana, which means that you always have the ability to ramp like a spell 3 turns earlier, right? Yeah, so getting spell mana, even though you can't use the cast with dudes, the fact that just makes spells way stronger. Yeah, so this allows you to curve up into big spells now.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just like thinking about all these in my head. Even if you played like Shell Shocker on turn 1, you can still play like Remembrance or something on turn 3 as well. It's like the most I was thinking about.
Yeah.
When it comes to this sort of shit. Because like waiting around 3 turns, or waiting around till turn 3 and taking like
getting punched in the face all the time. Yeah.
Like if you don't have the attack token turn 2, you like they've probably played a bird on turn 1, and then they might have played something with 3 attack on turn 2. Like sometimes you're looking at 5 attack coming to your head. Or even if they have the attack token on turn 3, they got priority if they can attack you before you get a dude out. You could be looking at a lot of damage, but you can block.
That's
something.
A lot of damage.
That's a lot of damage, but you can shell shock chump block it. I don't know, just thoughts, but I don't think you'd realistically run Shell Shocker with the Mage Seeker Remembrance deck with Lux. But like we're just
the fact that
it's good to talk about this stuff just so you can sort of think about potential combinations and things like that.
Yeah, the thing is that these Attune cards are on really cheap cards. That's the issue. Like they're on really cheap cards. Like there should not be a 1-cost Attune card. Yeah.
Interesting. So I suppose you better say something about Coral Creatures. So it's a 2-mana 1/2 with Attune. When I'm summoned, create a random 1-cost spell in hand. And to help you, because I know you're bad at names, I have gone ahead and put every single 1-cost spell into the show doc. I'm assuming you can get a spell from any region.
No, actually, so that's one of the thing when a card says create a random whatever, it can only create a random card in your factions. There's that one Shadow Isles 1-cost card that says when it dies, you get a dude from any region. So yeah, so from what I've heard, when a card says create a random card, it can only be a random card from your faction.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I thought Flash of Brilliance could make a 6+ from any region. Was I wrong in thinking that?
Yeah, but you can make it from any region as long as those regions are in your deck. Like those regions are within your factions. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Have you ever noticed why it always seems to give you Demacia cards?
Flash of Brilliance?
Yeah. Oh no. Why it kept giving you so it keeps giving me PZ and keeps giving me PZ and Demacia cards, but yeah, it always gives you PZ cards, Piltover cards.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I totally misunderstood that. I thought it was any region.
No.
Because I thought Flash of Brilliance could give you... I haven't really played around much with PNZ. So I thought you could get one from any region. So I was basing it off Flash of Brilliance when I was putting the doc together.
Yeah, okay. So it only comes in your factions, yeah.
Because I was looking at a card that gives you one from any region. I'm just like, what are the chances you get something good? Or... that's such a big pool of cards.
Yeah, no, it actually narrows down quite a lot, especially if you go mono region as well.
I kind of wish it would say that you get a spell from your region.
Yeah, right.
Some of the wordings on cards in this game are...
yeah, there's a lot of wording that needs to be cleaned up.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So... there's really not much we can say then, right? Because we only know of one cost card from Bilgewater at the moment, and that's Parlay.
Yes. This card's really good. Yeah, I feel this card is really good. It creates a body.
Oh, and Jettison. You can get Jettison.
Yeah, it creates body. It allows you to cast a separate spell, and it banks spell mana. Yeah, there are going to be combo decks that are just going to chain Coral Creatures and Shell Shockers, and you're just going to lose the game because your opponent played 8 or 9 cards in one go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've made me look at Attune in a whole new light.
Yeah, it may not happen this set. Don't quote me on it, but I guarantee you, one of those. There's just going to be this guys.
One really good exploit deck later on, right?
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
Super exploit.
Yeah.
Super duper exploit.
Right now, we only know about Jettison and Parlay that can come to you from this unit. But surely they're going to give us more on release.
Yeah. We'll get more. We'll get more. But yeah.
Okay. Did you have anything more to say? Because you had way more to say about Attune than I did.
Okay. Coral Creatures with Rummage is going to be legit. Play Coral Creatures, you get the mana for Rummage, you rummage away your thing. Yeah. Nah, it's it's legit.
It's legit.
Yeah.
Nautilus goes dupe.
Trey Legitiense. I don't even know if that's even... No, it's not.
What'd you say? Trey
Legitiente.
I think you just said 3 Legitiente.
What's very? It's.
I don't know.
Yeah, no.
I don't even know if you're trying to do French or Spanish or.
I thought it was Spanish. Yeah.
Okay.
No. Yeah. No. Okay. Forget it.
Okay. I don't know. So, next champion is Nautilus. With him comes a new mechanic. So Nautilus is a 7 mana 0/12 with tough, fearsome, and when I level up, copy tossed allies that cost 4 or more into your deck. And he levels up when you are deep. Nautilus flips into a 7 mana 13/13. Which is I think that's the biggest base health and attack unit outside of Catastrophe. The cat, yeah.
Yeah.
He's got tough, fearsome, and all sea monster allies cost 4 less. So to get deep, you need to have 15 or less cards in your deck. So you got to toss shit to flip him. And the first time you go deep, you remain deep. So, because like it says here, toss allies that cost 4 or more into your deck.
Yeah.
So, like, the second you go deep, if Nautilus is on the board, like, he flips, but then you're no longer flipped right, so all those sea monsters don't get the buff.
Yeah,
and the buff, of course, is all deep units get 3/3 when you are deep.
Okay. Like, because I was wondering about the deep thing. Like, yeah. After Nautilus flips, you have to do that shit again, but, like, yeah, okay. I don't know about this card.
He's just a big dumb unit, right?
Like, okay, if he survives, you basically get to Zerg out sea monsters. From what I've seen, all the sea monsters are just like big costed dudes. So yeah, but they basically become like what 1-2 cost from 3 cost dudes, right? So basically, all these big boys come down cheap.
Alright, so there's a 7 cost sea monster, a 4 cost sea monster that they revealed, and then there's a 5 cost one, but you can't main deck him. So
yeah, okay.
The 4 cost one's like 4/4. It comes out 7/7 for free if you have it in hand, and Nautilus on the board.
Okay, if that's the case, there's some kind of cool, legit things you can do with it. Like. I've seen some of this. I've seen some of these sea monsters and seen some of these treasure shits. I think they're gonna get carried simply because those cards are powerful, and not necessarily because Nautilus is powerful. You might chuck Nautilus in just randomly as a game ender, but yeah, like Nautilus isn't that key. So it's like, if people make deck profiles, people are going to be like, oh yeah, you don't need Nautilus for this deck. Yeah, it's just an extra if you need it, right?
Nautilus himself is like never going to hit the Nexus, right? He hasn't got Overwhelm or anything. So they're always just going to run something cheap into him.
Yeah, but it's also got Fearsome as well. So your opponent can't...
yeah, true. So they have to run 3.
Yeah. And like, to be honest, at 13 health, tough doesn't even matter at that stage. It's like...
Yeah, no, right?
Yeah. It's like, I'm not going to use, like, redoubled Valor to, like, make my guy big enough to, like, Mike Godzilla to fight your Mothra or some shit.
Well, yeah.
Titan battles.
They should have gave him Challenger, right? Because he's got the hook.
Yeah.
Which is just a League of Legends reference. But, yeah. At a certain point, at even 12 life, the only way you're killing this dude is with Vengeance.
Yeah, basically, your opponent just uses a kill guy effect rather than like fighting him, because you're not fighting him. Yeah.
Like really, like you can Ruinate or you can Vengeance to get rid of him.
I don't see anyone
spending, like, who's going to spend 12 or 13 mana on like a Tectonic Beam or something like that? Will of Ionia is a good answer.
You just stun it so you can you stun it, even though like Yasuo ain't killing it. But it's just like, every deck, so decks should have answers to your opponent playing a really beefy dude, and he's just beefy to the point where tough literally doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although, oh man, it's like you can get a awakened, a leveled up like knock Darius to like run in there with 10 attack. Then it might be relevant to trade. Then that like tiny amount of toughness might get him over the line. He can block leveled up Darius with a Wrath Potion and survive.
Ooh, yeah.
Because that tough, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this is going to depend highly upon like okay, yeah. This is only relevant because all those other cards all have good good effects that synergize with toss and shit. What's this Riptide thing do?
So Riptide is a 4-mana fast spell that stuns an enemy. But if Nautilus is on the board, that enemy you stunned goes back into their deck.
Okay. If it goes into the deck. Okay, cool.
So you know, like Spooky Karma?
Yeah. I know it sends it back, yeah.
So like they can't rekindle Karma after you Riptide it.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
If you have Nautilus on the board, though.
To be honest, I don't think this card's going to see play. And I'm pretty sure the only time you'll ever see this card is when you have 2 Nautiluses in hand and you play 1 Nautilus. Like, yeah, nah. Yeah, because the second ability is never going to be relevant, you know? So what, you're going to drop Nautilus on 7, alright? You don't have to spell mana to play Riptide. And then, next turn you just want to drop sea monsters.
You don't want to fuck around with spells, right? You just want to start zerging out these really cheap guys.
Yeah. Yeah. So okay. So
we can talk about the sea monsters if you've had enough of the big board.
All right. Okay. Yeah.
So sea monsters and toss cards, because they showed us Dredgers. Which is a 1-mana 2/1. When I'm summoned, toss 3.
That's a lot of tossing. Like, that's a lot of tossing, actually. Just on the dude. And he's, like, when summoned as well. Yeah, like... I think there might be some interesting loops and shit you can do with Shadow Hours. Yeah.
You'd probably more likely see Dredgers in a Shadow Isles Bilgewater Maokai deck.
Yeah, that's what I mean, right? Like
with a Nautilus deck, right?
Okay, it could be
because you can use that card that like duplicates it.
Yeah.
And then like that gets you a lot closer to Maokai level up.
Yeah, but okay, so maybe so there's definitely a Shadow Isles Bilgewater toss deck. So there's definitely got to be that, right?
Yeah.
So the question is you just determine what your win con is, right? Whether you want to be tossing through all these sea monster shit or some bullshit you can do with the Maokai or the the more of the Maokai or Shadow Owl stuff, right? But like I'm pretty certain that's going to be the guaranteed pairing. Yeah, just like certain pairs are definitely supposed to work. So looping this guy and like definitely Shadow Owls is definitely the faction that can loop him the most. So yeah, probably some interesting turbo toss loops that you can do with this guy.
Turbo toss. Turbo-tastic.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Shipwreck Quarter. 7 costs 7/5, and he's deep. I think all these sea monsters are deep, eh? Okay.
All of the sea monsters are deep.
Yep. So when he summoned, toss 2 and then shuffle 2 treasures into your deck. Okay, so alright, let's go back to this guy after we talk about the treasures.
Sure.
Alright, cool. Next one, Beast Below. So it's a 4 cost 4/4. That's deep. So he's free when you flip the Nautilus.
Yes, he is free.
Yeah, no, it seems legit. Worst case scenario, you can still play him for 4 cost 4/4.
Yeah.
Yeah. So probably it's definitely just gonna combo into that sea monster toss deck.
Yeah.
And then there's a 5-cost one, Vicious Plate Worm. That's
You
deep,
can only get it through a treasure,
ferocious.
so
Yeah.
we may as well keep going.
Yeah. So let's talk about the treasures. Yeah, let's talk about treasures first, okay? So treasures seem to be cards that you can't main deck, and what so far, like the 3 that are revealed, there are 3 5-cost spells that are treasures, and they all have the ability where if they are tossed, you add them into your hand instead. So yeah, so there's Treasure Trove, which is create 5 random cards in hand. They cost 0 and are fleeting. Keel Breaker, which is deals 5 damage to all units.
Yeah.
Or Plate Worm Egg, which is summon 3 Vicious Plate Worms, which is that 5/5 Frost. What's is it called Ferocity in this game or no Vicious? What's a fear? What's Vicious's Plate Worm ability?
Oh, Fearsome.
Fearsome. Okay, that's what it's called in this game. Like, yeah, I just keep forgetting what the keywords are called.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it creates 3 of the Fearsome guys. They all seem like really strong, but obviously the reason why they're strong is because you have to go through the trouble of treasuring them into your deck, and then you have to toss them from the deck or draw into them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't have that many cards in deck, right, the chances of picking one up aren't super low. Because you're probably going to be deep anyway. Nautilus will shuffle 4 back in. You'll probably toss a few more. Like, you're around that 15 mark. And
okay, so
I think if you take into consideration Salvage, right? So Salvage is a 4-mana burst spell. Toss 2, draw 2. So, like, you toss 2 from the bottom, you draw 2 from the top, and then there's also the chance you pick up, like, Treasure Trove through the toss effect. So, in terms of your chances to pick up a treasure card, it's kind of like draw 4 and then toss 2 that aren't treasures or something like that.
yeah, it's like, okay, it's really bad. Well, okay, not really bad. Okay, so it's really annoying that this is a super RNG heavy effect.
Yeah. Because,
like, dependent on where those treasures get shuffled into your deck determines how easy or hard you win the game, right? If you just happen to, I don't know, like, let's say that there's a 3-cost card that puts 1 treasure in your deck, say, right? And you just happen to toss it the next turn. So basically, you're gonna, like, maybe on turn 4 play a treasure because it's with spell mana and just be like, all right, cool. Now, like, I just have a huge advantage in the game because Treasure Trove just gave me 5 random cards that cost 0, and they all happen to be like 8-9 cost big dick guys, and now I just slammed 5 big dick guys that cost 0, and you're dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's just like the memes where you, like, someone spell manas a Treasure Trove on turn 4, just like big dude, big dude, big dude, big dude, and you just, like, surrender.
Yeah, Crying Poro surrender. It's a good play.
Yeah.
Crying Poro surrender.
So yeah, it's super RNG. Like, yeah. Super duper RNG, but it obviously will depend upon how easy it is to get treasures in their deck, and then, like, it's just dependent on, like, toss RNG.
Yeah, cool. 1 sec. Sorry. Oh, who cares?
Me.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah. So now, going back to the sea monsters.
So I guess going back to the sea monsters now with treasures in mind. So the 7-mana 7/5 Shipwreck Hoarder is a deep card, and when I'm summoned, you toss 2, and then you put 2 treasures into your deck. This is the only one they've shown so far that puts treasures in your deck, right? There's gotta be more.
Okay,
right?
so there has to be, definitely. Like,
otherwise, because if your only way to get treasures into your deck is playing the, like, fucking 7-mana units,
they wouldn't give you 3 treasures and only 1 guy to put treasures into your deck.
I get that, but it kind of locks you into Nautilus if he's the only way to get treasures in your deck.
Yeah, but here's the thing though, like, after you play Nautilus, so your deck is fat again. You play Nautilus, This guy does become cheaper on the next turn, but your deck is now fat. Your deck is like now 20 plus because Nautilus just copied a whole bunch of dudes back into your deck.
Nautilus is putting him back in the deck. Nautilus is putting the Shipwreck Hoarder back in the deck.
Yeah, but then you have to like, but okay, and then putting treasures back in the deck. The whole point is you want to stick treasures in the deck, you want to toss them away, and then you want to play them as soon as possible, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the ordering of this shit is wrong, right? Yeah, you want the ordering of this shit is wrong. You want to play the Shipwreck Hoarder. You want Shipwreck Hoarder to be a cheap card to toss cards and to toss treasures, right? The thing is, once you get to Nautilus, you don't care about treasures anymore. After you play Nautilus, you just want to Zerg in dudes, right?
Yeah.
So like after you play Nautilus, the following turn you can play all these other deep dudes and you're sending them in. At that stage, you don't even care if you're getting treasures in the deck or you're tossing whatever. Like Nautilus is like, Nautilus is like the last push sort of card. At that stage, Shipwreck Hoarder doesn't do anything. So hit Shipwreck Hoarder, like, is too overcost to be relevant, unless there's a way to like make him cheaper or something. But yeah, because you think about it,
there's got to be some other units that put treasures in. It can't just be like
really
100% expensive dudes. But
you know,
I mean, they're valuing a 7-cost unit to put 2 treasures in the deck.
Yeah, yeah. There's definitely going to be cards that put treasures in. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a spell that if there's a spell or a dude that on some effect puts a treasure exactly at the bottom of your deck. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, it might be like 2-cost 2/1 or something that says on death or something, put a treasure at the bottom of your deck, so your opponent never wants to block it.
Yeah,
or some shit like that, right? So okay. Yeah. Now going back to these spells, you got Jettison, which is burst, toss 4, cost 1, and we got Salvage, cost 4 spell, burst, toss 2, draw 2.
Surely Salvage gets played even outside of toss strats. Or is it too pricey? You just rather play Rummage?
It's really pricey.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's really pricey. Paying 4 is like 4-cost spells have to do a lot. Like, yeah, have to do a lot. And tossing 2, drawing 2 is not enough. Yeah, it would like I don't know why they couldn't have made it like toss 4 or something at the very least. Yeah,
I think it's just because of treasures. That's the way they decided to balance it.
Yeah, but Salvage costs too much. Like, Salvage isn't even OP. Why would they even like? Okay, yes, it thins out your deck, so it gets you deeper faster. Deep. But like, okay, so 40 card deck, you draw one at the side turn, so it's like 35 cards, right? Assuming like games go to like 8 turns or something, naturally through the progression of the game, you would like your 35 deck goes to another -8, so it goes to what, 27 or some shit, and you need to get deep, so you need to get to 15, right? So if you want to get deep by turn 5, you would have drawn 10 cards by then, so you need to go from 30 to 15, so you need to toss 15 cards by turn 5 in order for you to go deep, right? Yeah, that's tossing a lot of damn cards, man. So yeah, it wouldn't have been overpowered for Salvage to like toss 5 even. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, like once the testing comes out, people are going to realize how hard it is to get deep.
So Jettison tosses 4 at 1 mana burst speed.
But it also costs you 1/5 of your hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like for example, even if you go like in the most optimal situation, you go turn 1, turn 2, just like triple Jettison. That's -12, right? You like, so it's -12 plus you've already drawn 2 cards plus, so it's like 7 plus 12. So you would have minus 7 plus 12. So you would have minus 19 cards, right? So you still need to go minus another 6 cards in order to be deep, right? But you've already lost 3 cards from your hand. And you still need to go like, yeah, like still a lot deeper, just in order for your deck to come online and not be shitty. And meanwhile, while it's all happening, your opponent's just punching you in the face.
Okay. So do you reckon we'd be running Jettison in a treasures deck?
No.
No.
It depends.
Depends how hard it is to get treasures.
It depends on if there's some sort of combo with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, or some sort of synergy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's the best treasure?
I think, like, I feel for real the best treasure is treasure trove.
Yep. That's what a lot of people are saying.
Like, depends on what
cards.
What the limitation of what those random cards are in hand, right? Yeah. They cost 0 and are fleeting. Like, are they still fleeting after you play them on the field? No, because fleeting is only an hand thing. You know, like, yeah, when they're on the field, yeah, they're just yeah, like.
Oh, in my mind, it only drew spells, but yeah, that can draw units.
Yeah.
So what if you just get like fucking a whole bunch of shit units?
That's what I was. Well, it's like, yeah, if you get shit units, then you get shit units, right? Like, but there's okay. Look, if you get, let's say if you get 4 shit units, all right, and you get 1 big dick 9-cost card, you still super ahead. You just played a 9-cost big dick dude for 5, for 5 spell mana as well. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, what's the chances that like all 5 are just gonna be garbage cards? You know.
Surely.
And they're.
I suppose you get one good thing.
They're free.
They're free.
like, this is like, yeah, resolving this wins, like, probably wins you the game. Most of the time will like just win you the game. So legit, like, yeah, so legit, if you're playing, like, if this becomes a thing, if you could more consistently get treasure trove, people are just gonna start running Ionia so you can deny all these treasures. Yeah. So basically, yeah, the treasure deck would just like probably auto lose Ionia.
Or aggro.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some anti-aggro shit that they can do. But yeah, nah. Killbreaker seems the weakest. Even though it's like, yeah, 5 damage all, yeah, it's just 5 damage all units. It should be face as well.
I was thinking that.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a weak urination. Oh my god.
Weak ruination. Weak urination. You might want to see a doctor about that, man.
Yeah. Sorry. It seems like a weak ruination. I guess it depends how consistently far behind you are when you draw Killbreaker. But like, Treasure Trove probably wins you the game. Plateworm Egg probably wins you the game. Killbreaker deals 5 damage to all units.
Plateworm significantly tips the game in your favor. So basically, Plateworm says, "All right, you got to deal with this bullshit. Otherwise, you're going to lose in like within 2 rounds, right?"
Yeah, because you're playing. What's that? 2 or 3? You're playing 3 8/8s on the board.
Potential 8/8s.
Well, you have to be. You would be deep by the time you play it.
Nah, it's like, okay, because if they're tossed, you draw them, right? So if they get shuffled into your deck, let's say they get shuffled second card in the bottom of your deck, yeah, then you draw. You can still play this like early on, but it's just that we haven't seen any cheap cards that put treasures in yet. So far, the only card that we've seen put treasures in costs 7. But if there's a card that is cheaper, like 3 or 4 costs that puts a treasure into your deck, then like, yeah, it's a different thing. Then yeah, potentially you can play this early, but yeah. But yeah, no, they're all legit bullshit. So basically, like, the game is going to depend on how easily you can get to these treasures and how RNG based these treasures get put into your deck. And like, here's the thing, right? Okay, so you got 2 levels of RNG, maybe even 3 levels of RNG to treasures, right? So the first level of RNG is where those treasures get shuffled into your deck, right? So that's the first level of RNG. You can get super lucky, and they can just be in the bottom 2 cards of your deck, and they get tossed straight away, right? And then the second level of RNG is which treasure you get, right? If you keep getting kill breakers, then you lose games, right? All right? And then the third level of RNG is like, even if you get the ideal treasure trove, what cards you get in treasure trove, right? So there's so many levels of RNG you have to jump through. You got to get the combo. You got to hope it gets shuffled to the bottom of your deck. You hope you got to get the not shit one, and then hope the cards that you get with the good one are not shit.
And then if you're playing against Ionia, you got to wait for them to go below 4 mana.
And you got to wait for them. Yeah, and you got to like be not against Ionia. But yeah, but there's so much RNG to this game. It almost seems like an RNG heavy OTK deck, almost in a way.
Kind of cool though.
Yeah, it's a fun deck, I assume. But yeah.
All right.
Now onto more playable stuff.
All right. So I'm really excited for this champion. So this is my boy Gangplank. This used to be my favorite character in League of Legends until I got high on Tarek for a really long time. But he's
I was about to say.
He's still one of my favorites. Absolutely adore this guy. So happy he's in the game. But I mean, if you're gonna make a Bilgewater set, how can you not put in Gangplank, right? He was the first Bilgewater champion in the whole game. So Gangplank is a 5/5/5 with Overwhelm. So he's got Garen's stat line, but he has Overwhelm instead of Regen. But he does a little more than Garen does, because he summons a Powder Keg when he hits the board. And a Powder Keg, I'll talk about that in a sec. So to level him up, you need to have damaged the enemy Nexus in 5 rounds this game. See, that must be a typo, because it's pretty much the same requirement as Sejuani, but Sejuani's text says 5 different rounds, whereas he just says 5 rounds this game.
I think it's probably the same thing.
So I'm like 100% sure it's the same requirement, but I just wish they would clean up some of these texts.
Yeah.
So his flip side, he becomes a 5/6/6 when I'm summoned, and at round start. Oh, I'm running low on space. When I'm summoned and round start, summon a Powder Keg. And when he attacks, he deals 1 to all enemies and the enemy Nexus. And so, which has led people to nickname him Bilgewater's Anivia. Now, the Powder Kegs. Now, this is the exciting part about Gangplank. You don't realistically need Gangplank to get Powder Kegs on the board, but he is the best enabler of Powder Kegs thus far. So a Powder Keg is a 0 mana, you can't play it of course, it's a 0/1, and it can't attack, it can't block, it always has vulnerable, and it's a unit that actually sits on the board. Now they stack, so if you play multiple Powder Kegs, they don't fill up your board, they only fill up 1 slot, and when you cast a damaging spell, your Powder Kegs will explode, and they'll deal 1 extra damage for every Powder Keg you have stacked up, and then all your Powder Kegs go away. That's the Powder Keg, my dude.
Cool. Yeah, okay, cool. So Gangplank fundamentally by himself doesn't really, on the front side, Gangplank doesn't really do anything fundamentally. He just summons 1 Powder Keg, right? And then on the flip side is kind of where he has the ability to start using Powder Keg for shit. On attack, deal 1 damage to all enemies in the enemy Nexus. So basically, you want to stack Powder Kegs and then shoot the Powder Keg and then like load them all up. All right, so Powder Keg's viability is going to be dependent upon. All right, so if your opponent destroys the Powder Keg,
does the whole stack get destroyed?
Does the whole stack destroy? Yeah,
that's
right?
what I'm really curious about. Because if you stack up like 10 kegs or like,
and then your opponent just like mystic shots it or something, it's like, oh yeah, it feels bad.
Oh fuck, just lost all my kegs, right?
Yeah, or it's so it's like, yeah, how easy is it to stack kegs, and then how easy is it to kill the kegs, right? Or when the Powder Kegs stack, do they do all the health of all the Powder Kegs add on top, right? So, yeah, might be.
Judging from the video, no.
Yeah. Cool.
So it just has this little text that pops up and says ×2.
Okay. If that's the case, then this card kind of sucks hard. There needs to be ways to protect Powder Kegs. Like, yeah, there needs to be ways to protect Powder Kegs.
You can
Yeah.
technically buff them.
I wouldn't be surprised if there is like, say, a dude that says like your Powder Kegs cannot be chosen by like summons or some shit.
That could be good. So one question I saw someone ask that didn't get an answer, obviously, but the question was, if you recall a stack of powder kegs, does the whole stack go to your hand? And then can you just like play that whole stack again at 0 mana and just like surprise warning shot someone for like 10 damage or like lethal damage or some shit?
Yeah, and then what happens if you already got a powder keg on the field and then you play another powder keg? Do you have 2 separate instances of powder kegs, or does the new powder keg stack on your existing powder keg?
Yeah. And if you play Ancient Crocolith, can you sack like 2 powder kegs in a stack, or do you have to sack the whole stack of powder kegs and then something else?
Yeah, so that's...
There's a lot of questions that come into like, how do powder kegs work?
There are probably like a shit ton of bugs with powder keg. Just there's probably bugs with powder kegs. They're probably gonna have to do like a hot patch. It's like powder keg fix, powder keg fix, powder keg fix.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. It says destroy when your a spell or skill damages enemies. So like, I assume that if a spell deals multiple packets of damage, even on the one spell, powder keg applies to all of it. So like, if you true shot barrage, instead of like 3-2-1, it'd be like 4-3-2, right? As opposed to like the first one gets buffed by like 3, and the next one only gets buffed by 2. Next one gets buffed by 1. Yeah. Like the thing is that Gangplank's okay. So all right, assuming that the powder keg doesn't survive, how good is Gangplank by himself? He's just like a 6/6 overwhelm that just deals 1 damage to all your opponent's shit when he attacks. So he's kind of like a half Anivia.
He's a pre-leveled Anivia. Yeah.
That doesn't go into egg form, but gets powder kegs. It's hard to say this card. I don't think it's going to be fantastic just because of his counter ability. Yeah.
One card they've shown off for powder kegs is Parlay. Parlay's a 1 mana, deal 1 damage to anything. If it kills it, deal 1 to the enemy nexus. But it's slow. So you can just like sack your own unit whenever someone tries to parlay it, and then just like all those, then like, but the powder kegs wouldn't trigger then.
Nah, I'm pretty sure the powder kegs wouldn't trigger because this ability or this spell fizzles.
Yeah.
You know, like you can tell when something fizzles because like the little icon of it just like kind of burns out. Yeah.
So powder kegs wouldn't trigger then. I'm just sort of like, is my opponent gonna burn resources trying to deal with powder kegs all the time? So like they're vulnerable, so they can just run attackers into the powder kegs. But are they helping their situation by constantly dealing with a powder keg that gets summoned at the start of every round?
All right. So my opinion is this: like, powder keg's ability is very weak. Unless you're chucking it on AoE, right? Because if you're doing it as a single nuke, you're getting 1 damage worth of value out of your powder keg, right? Yeah. But if it's an AoE, you're getting multiple points of value for each powder keg you have, right? So I'm pretty sure that any deck that's playing the powder keg strategy is going to have some sort of cheap AoE ability that can just like like the cheapest thing that can deal 1 to everything is going to be like comboed with powder keg probably, right? So in that situation, it is almost for certain that you should kill the powder kegs. Yeah, like, and here's the thing, like,
but is your opponent gaining an advantage?
Wait, your opponent is gaining an advantage by killing these powder kegs, right? Because there will sometimes be like the smallest unit. If you're playing aggro, your smallest unit may not be able to beat through your opponent's biggest guy, or like will get down traded into it, right? So at least it means that you're 1/1 spider. So let's say if your opponent's got like a 3/2, right? Your opponent's got a 3/2 and a powder keg, and I've got like a 2/2 spider and a 1/1 spider, right? If I swing my 2/2 spider, he doesn't want to block it with his 3/2 because they trade, But if and if I swing my 1/1, he'll get his free 2 to block my 1/1, right? So like if I don't have any combat tricks or whatever, I can swing my 2/2, and he can choose to either block with his free 2 or not, and then I can get my 1/1 to like smack his powder keg. Yeah, and then my opponent has to be like, oh yeah, do I protect the powder keg or do I use like spells or whatever? But I'm pretty sure that if there is some sort of like super cheap way to deal multiple packets of damage, it'll probably be like a fast spell. So the combo will probably be like powder keg and then fast spell to deal like 1 damage to 2 guys or something like that. Yeah.
So far, I think the cheapest card that's going to deal damage to 2 units is Static Shock. And then... No, actually, I'm wrong.
It's Death Lotus one.
Death Lotus? Yeah. So you could not block on defense, but I'd be surprised if they didn't pull the... Well, they'd probably pull the powder keg, right? So after they pull the powder keg, you can Death Lotus.
Yeah.
And then you can hit the powder keg and deal 2 to everyone. So yeah, that's the cheapest. And then after that, it's like Avalanche. Avalanche will deal now 3 damage with 1 powder keg to all units on the board, but it's hitting all your shit as well. But like Death Lotus hits all of your shit, but I think ideally you wouldn't want to run your guys into a Death Lotus on defense like that.
It might not be Avalanche, but I think there's definitely got to be some some fast spell that can just like AoE shit with powder keg, and that's going to be the
slow, right? So I guess it's just Death Lotus, Static Shock, Withering Whale.
I wouldn't be... Okay, look, I'm alright, don't quote me on this one. Alright?
Actually, Ember Maiden does get triggered by them as well, and that's round start, so if the powder keg's already on the board, they can't avoid it.
Yeah, so you have to do it after your opponent's combat.
But the question is...
Don't quote me on this,
will Withering Whale kill the powder keg? Not Withering Whale, Ember Maiden.
I'm pretty sure Ember Maiden... Oh man, this is annoying. It also got... I think it probably still does the damage.
It's too many questions with powder kegs.
Okay. Alright. If I was using Magic the Gathering rulings here... So there's 2 abilities. The first ability is powder keg says all your spells and skills deal 1 extra damage, right? So that's like a continuous ability, right? And so when you cast your spell or whatever, on resolution of that spell, if powder keg exists, it still does the +1 damage, right? And it's only on resolution of that spell that powder keg kills itself. So the game doesn't check between the spell resolving, whether the powder keg is there or not. So even if you kill powder keg with your spell, it will still do 1 to everything, because it locks in how much it deals to everything once, and as it deals shit to everything. I'm pretty sure. So I'm pretty sure that chick will just deal 2 damage to everything, including the powder keg. It's okay. I'm pretty sure. Okay. So don't quote me on this. Actually, no, do quote me on this. There is probably going to be one of the regions. I have a feeling it probably will be like Piltover. That's gonna have like a free cost, probably slow spell that just deals 1 to all your opponent's guys. Yeah. I have a feeling. Quoted 27th of April 2020.
Alright, I'll quote you on it.
Yep.
Man, there's just so much to talk about with powder kegs.
Yeah, but overall it depends on and also powder kegs are really risky, right? How many powder kegs do you stack up before you just you're just all right, cool, we'll catch the powder kegs now. Yeah, And yeah, right. If there's a fast way, like a fast spell that puts a powder keg down, that will be OP. So something that's something based upon the chain and the priority in this game is once the chain starts resolving, it resolves all the way, right? So you can't interrupt one part of the chain, right? So if you cast a spell and then you chain a fast spell that like might be like a 2-cost spell that says put a powder keg down, there is no instance where your opponent can kill that powder keg, because once the whole stack resolves, it resolves that fast spell that puts a powder keg, and immediately your damage spell, you get to use a powder keg, right? So yeah, if there was a fast way to put a powder keg down, it would be very strong.
Powder kegs. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure
Like
at the stage it's kind of
So what you like?
a fast spell, not a burst spell.
So like
If
you queue it up, and then you play the powder keg fast spell after it. So the powder keg goes down first in the stack.
Okay, so it's like this, right? So if you have no dudes on the field and I have a 1 health guy, right? And I'm Demacia, and I have that dueling strike, whatever's it called?
Single combat,
okay? So you got no dudes, right? And I got a dude, right? If you do that draining thing, the one that creates a spider, because the spider comes in at fast speed, there is no point in which I can duel, like I can strike with my guy to kill your spider, because it's all on the same fast link. Yeah. Yeah, because all one resolution. So yeah, if there's a fast spell that can put a powder kick down, it'll be really strong.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah.
Because there's no way for me to interrupt it.
Okay.
But yeah, no, it's really difficult to put where it's going to be, but I don't think it's going to be fantastic. I think it's going to be it's all going to be to do with all the bullshit interactions you can do with powder keg.
Okay. Let's go over the units pretty quick, so we can get all the way into Twisted Fate.
Oh shit, there's more. Okay, fuck.
These last one, these guys won't take us long, I don't think. But we have 2 guys here that can summon a powder keg. The first one's a 2-mana 2/2. When I'm summoned, summon a powder keg.
Oh shit! I should have looked at. I missed these guys.
And there's another guy who's a 3-mana 3/1 who play. So this is a play effect, not a summon effect. Play, summon a powder keg or a random 1-cost ally from any faction. That is a typo. They meant to say region, because when I made the doc, like I heard it explained to me that it wasn't faction. Like faction.
It was supposed to be region. Yeah.
Faction meant like the elite tag and shit like that. So, so I was like, okay, so this dude just summons poros.
Yeah. Okay. So see, there's a difference between like get a random something and a random something from any region. Yeah. So Petty Officer can get any random 1-cost ally, even outside of your region.
He's still just gonna pick up like, I don't know why, like unless you're running him outside of powder keg strats, and then I'm not really sure why you'd run him outside of powder keg strats.
Because
you're pretty much just most likely getting poros, right?
Like
you just get a daring poro. Ah, shit.
Yeah, but like, okay.
What 1-cost unit would you want? Like Cythria?
Just any dude in aggro, so you can just buff them up and send them in.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah, imagine sending those boom guys when you have a powder keg. Just blow up the powder keg. Oh yeah, +1 damage to face.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
So, what do you think of these 2 guys now that you know that there are units that summon powder kegs?
Like, Petty Officer... Okay, so we'll go with the other guy. Dreadway Deckhand. Summon a powder keg. I don't know. Like...
Brainy hurdy.
Like I find it very difficult. Okay, opponents are going to play very different based upon you having powder kegs, right? So your opponent's always going to hold removal for it, right? against some matchups, you'll never get to resolve Powder Keg. I don't feel some matchups are just gonna hold like always like 1 or 2 spell mana open, just ready to blow up these Powder Kegs.
Yeah.
So resolving Powder Kegs is gonna be really hard. Yeah, like you're gonna have to, like, to play the Powder Keg strat, you might have to play some defensive, like you might ironically have to play either Demacia or Freljord, just so you have some way to protect the Powder Kegs in response to you trying to use Powder Kegs. Yeah.
I think my question is, would you, like, if someone's going to remove your Powder Keg, would you prefer to be using spells like Prismatic Barrier or Thingy of Iron, Elixir of Iron, or would you prefer to just like cast Warding Shot and deal like 2 damage to the Nexus or something, or like throw a dagger at someone just to resolve them there?
Like, okay, the way I see it, this allows you to, I don't know, like say on your 4 mana turn, if you got 3 mana spell mana banked up and you got this guy, you could go on your 4th mana turn, you can play this guy and do that 5 cost drain 1 from all your opponent's guys. Yeah, so you can play this guy. Yeah, so you can play this guy, you get a Powder Keg, and then your opponent will swing in and try to kill your Powder Kegs, and it's like do the 2 AoE shit. Yeah.
Question. Do you think, so cards that say drain 1 or like drain 3, are they going to heal you for an extra point, or are they just going to deal 4 and heal 3, like if you're using Grasp or if you're using...
Oh, that's an interesting one. I don't know how that works with Funsmith. However it does it with Funsmith is the same. I have a feeling that it might be programmed. The more you deal, the more you heal, because I know that with Lifesteal, if you're going into a barrier, you don't drain. And I think with Drain, if you're blowing up a barrier, I don't think you gain the health. Yeah. But yeah, so it's like, so let's say if you go like Dreadway Deckhand into a AoE summon, right? Your opponent can counter that by using a nuke to kill the Powder Keg. So all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, cool. Like my 2-card combo to try to AoE my opponent's board for like 2 or 3 damage no longer does that because my opponent killed the Powder Keg.
Is there an argument to be made that your opponent's using a lot of removal to get rid of Powder Kegs, but you can sort of just keep playing more of them?
Yeah, so like another argument is that the fact that your opponent is wasting resources to kill your Powder Kegs already is like reducing the aggro that you take in the face, right? Yeah, so I guess that's one way to look at it. But the thing is that if your Powder Kegs die in 1 hit, then yeah, if your Powder Kegs die in 1 hit, then you never want to stack Powder Kegs. You just want to have 1 Powder Keg there, just as a deterrence. And because your opponent's going to kill your Powder Keg straight away, you just chuck another Powder Keg. Basically, it only punishes your opponent when they run out of shit to blow up your Powder Kegs with.
And then Gangplank puts down a new one every turn.
Yeah.
So, what, you hold on to shit like... You hold on to the cards that put one down for you. Just let Gangplank summon your Powder Kegs. And then just trigger him every time you attack, because he does anyway.
Yeah, but your opponent's always going to kill him in response, until your opponent just runs out of shit to kill your Powder Kegs with.
Yeah, but then if they kill your Powder Kegs, you play one of these dudes. And now, oh, I got another Powder Keg.
They only kill your Powder Kegs in response to anything that would trigger off a Powder Keg. So, if you attack, like, so you got a Powder Keg, and you use a summon or use a spell to deal 1 damage to your opponent will just Mystic Shot your Powder Keg in response.
Yeah.
So yeah, so your opponent's never going to, like, if your opponent attacks, they'll kill Powder Keg, but they'll always hold a spell to kill your Powder Keg, and they'll just hold it for whenever you use a damage spell, and they'll kill your Powder Keg in response. And the fact that you can't, like, protect your Powder Kegs very well means that you can't rely on your Powder Keg buff.
I don't think Powder Kegs are going to be tier 1, but I think they might actually be good.
I feel that this is going to be Yasuo tier.
I think... Oh, I don't know. Jagged Butcher, 1/2/2. Plunder, grant me 1/1.
Very legit. Very legit. having like a free is really good. Like it's really, really good. It's really good.
It's like those kind of stats really early in the game, even turn 2. That's a pretty good boy.
Yeah, he won't trade into shit.
Most 3/3s are 3 mana with an effect.
Yeah, like you don't even get 2/2s. Like you don't even get 2-cost guys out of free freeze. Not even like 2-cost champions out of free freeze.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's super easy to do because it's just like like not every deck runs ones, and if your opponent doesn't have to have a 1 on turn 1, you just like, oh, you're 1-cost 2 and just send him in. And even even if you don't plunder, he's still a 2/2. He's still Chifria.
He's got Cytherea's stat line. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, like I saw this post on a Facebook group, but Cytherea, the 1-cost Cytherea, like she eventually becomes the 6-cost Cytherea the Bold. That's the same girl.
Okay, so there are actually 3 Cytherea cards in the game.
Yeah.
So there's Cytherea of Cloudfield, Vanguard Squire.
Yeah.
And the 6
Cytherea the Bold.
one.
Yeah.
Cytherea the
Yeah.
Bold.
I didn't know they were the same chick.
There's a lot of demand for her to actually be a champion.
Okay.
In the League of Legends game.
But yeah.
Which I'm not against. But she's a cool character. She's actually appeared in some Riot comics. Did you know Riot comics are being made by Marvel?
I did not know that. Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy, huh?
Yeah. The only like League of Legends comics I've seen are just doujinshis online. But yeah.
Real talk. We could have done a whole podcast just on powder kegs. And I think I could still keep going. I think we need to move on.
All right. Twisted Fate. Is this the last card? Oh, we still got more shit afterwards. Okay, cool. All right, cool.
So it's just him and the 3 cards that were released, but there's a lot to talk about with Twisted Fate as well. My God. So Twisted Fate is a 4-mana 2/2, which is a really bad stat line. But he comes with quick attack and an on-play effect, and the on-play effect is play a Destiny card. To level him up, he needs to see you draw 8 cards. And then he becomes a 3/3. He loses his on-play effect, which I think is really bad. And the first 3 times I see you play a card each round, I play a Destiny card. And he plays, like, if you cast 3 spells, he plays 1 of each Destiny card. The Destiny cards, so if you play him unleveled, you get to pick which one you use. So you have the blue card, which is refill 1 spell mana and draw a card. You have the red card, which deals 1 to all enemies and the enemy nexus. And you have the gold card, deal 2 and stun the strongest enemy. So you can pick one of them when you play him unleveled, but if you have him leveled, when you cast a spell, it will automatically pick these cards for you. If you want to go by the trailer's order was blue, red, yellow. But I'm not sure if it's going to be a random order every time or if it's always going to be that order. But I don't think it's going to like give you like 2 blues and a gold or 2 reds and 3 reds, whatever.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Also, another thing that I noticed in that trailer, he didn't select the target for gold card. Is gold card target random?
Strongest enemy.
Oh, it's still the strong. Okay, sun's strongest enemy. Okay, so yeah, so you don't get to choose. Okay. Yeah. Also, Twisted Fate has quick attack. That's something I didn't quite notice before.
I think it's irrelevant. The quick attack.
Okay.
At 2/2 on 4 mana. Like.
Alright. Okay. It's
Chump Wump can fuck him up.
Okay. What do you mean? Oh yeah. Okay, Chump Wump. But yeah. But like, here's the thing, though, right? The way I. Okay. So. All right. So immediately on like he just looks bad, right? But I'm just thinking, what way can he be less bad, right? So okay.
I actually think this is a situation where his leveled up version is worse than his front side. I actually think like it's really hard to level him up. Like to have this 2 health unit see you draw 8 cards, and there are cards below. that are going to make that possible, and also the spell that's coming out with him, which is pick a card, burst, 3 mana burst 3, shuffle a card from hand into your deck and draw 3, and they are fleeting at the start of the next round. So like there are ways to draw cards, but 2's a really poor health line in order to level this guy up. I think playing this guy on 4 and getting one of these 3 effects, and I think like there are situations where red card's going to be really good to just deal 1 to all enemies in the Nexus. Like, oh, I'm up against spiders, I'll play Twisted Fate and red card. Or, oh, he's got a big dude out really early, I can play Twisted Fate and stun him. Or, oh, I feel like playing Twisted Fate for whatever reason, we just play the blue card, I get a spell mana back, and I get to draw a card. I think any of these 3 effects are actually good. But, like, making me spend a card on his flip side to get one of these 3 effects, I don't think that's good. Even if you cast 3 spells to get all 3 effects, I would rather just play Twisted Fate and get that effect, and then maybe play another Twisted Fate at some other point, unleveled.
Really?
Yeah. I don't think his flip side's that good.
He gets free shit whenever you play cards. How's that not good?
You get free shit when you play him.
You get 1 Destiny card when you play him.
Yeah, and then you have to spend 3 cards to get one of these in an...
It's a bonus every time you play a card.
Yeah, but...
Yeah, so you play a normal curve from there, or like, and you give him bonuses for shit. Assuming that it's in the order like blue, red, yellow, it means like the first card you play just like Attune draws your card, right? So if it's every turn that this card survives, basically you're just drawing a card for free. And you're refilling 1 spell mana. And then like on red, yeah, you do AoE shit. Okay, like the awakened side is legit. Like the leveled up side is legit. I'm pretty confident, but he's never gonna level up. You can't get this guy to level up. Having you seed like draw 8+ cards is like near impossible. Like pretty much, I think literally older champions that level up when they see you do stuff, they are not ever going to level up unless you're winning super hard. Yeah, like seeing you do shit is basically this card can't level up at all. Why 8? That's so many cards though. That's so many cards. So many cards. Like you have to commit so many resources into flipping this guy over. Yeah. Like, okay, so the way I was looking at this card is like, so I think it's called Shadow Assassin, the free cost 2/2 that draws you a card that's elusive. Yeah, okay. So I was thinking, if you look at Twisted Fate as so it costs you 4, and then you just pick blue card every time. He's a free, and you get 1 spell mana and you draw 1. So it's a free cost Shadow Assassin that has quick attack instead. But that's still not good. Yeah. Like,
I don't think like you don't build a deck around Twisted Fate. I don't think.
No. So you don't build a deck around Twisted Fate.
You put Twisted Fate into a deck where you can get some kind of value out of him.
Yeah, exactly, right? And so basically,
like, you're never going to see him level up, and I'm not super keen on his flip side anyway. So I feel like you just play him at 4 to just like get one of these 3 skills. Yeah,
exactly. So he's just a 4-cost card that you like play as a slow stun or a slow AoE, or just to cycle you through 1 card. So yeah, he's just a filler card that kind of has some sort of that has a variable choice in what it can do.
I think the flexibility is good.
That's the only thing he's got. That's
Yeah,
the only
that's
thing
what
he's
I
got.
But like I
and
said,
that's-
I don't think you build like in the same way. I don't think you're going to be building Fizz decks that are good. I don't think you're going to be really building Twisted Fate decks. I mean, if you're
Yeah.
going to draw fucking 8 cards to flip this guy, wouldn't
your
you?
opponent just
Wouldn't
your
you
opponent's
want-
gonna kill it. Like it's
wouldn't
okay.
you
It's
want
just
these 3 cards to be a bit better on the flip.
yeah. I don't know why he costs so much. I don't know why he costs 4. That's the big issue. Like if you, and why does he have 2 health? You know, like 4 costs he should have been like even if you want to make him like weak and garbage, 4 costs 2 free wouldn't have been an issue. The difference between 2 health and 3 health is massive. You know, like everything dies at 2 health. You know, yeah, like. And here's the thing: he's gonna have the same issue that Fiora has. Your opponent will get you let you get really close to getting the level up, and then your opponent's gonna be like, not Will of Ionia, not kill it. It's just like every single time you get up to like 6 or 7 cards, and then your opponent's gonna be like, nope, you'll send that shit back.
You got like the perfect like group of cards in your hand. You put down Twisted Fate, you draw some shit, you rummage, you pick a card. You're on 7 cards. Will of Ionia. Oh fuck.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So it's like,
and then you don't have that draw power anymore. So now you can't level him.
yeah. So yeah, nah. Yep, nah.
Okay.
He's a trap.
It's a trap.
Yeah.
So you want to look at the followers? So
Yeah,
these
sure.
all have draw mechanics.
Okay.
So the first one is the black market merchant. This one's quite interesting. When you draw an enemy card, reduce its cost by 1. Plunder, draw 1 from the enemy deck. He's a 2/2 for 2 mana. So you can draw 1 card from the enemy's deck if you plunder it, and then it costs 1 less.
This one's interesting. Like, okay, so this one's interesting.
You can steal
because
the enemy Draven.
This one's interesting because it is very dependent upon matchups. Like, okay, so yeah, so one thing from my recent like gameplay testing, so something that Karma Control has is that that 2 cost free 2 that when he Nexus strikes, steal one of the opponent's like spells from their deck, and I don't even give a shit about that. Like I used to try stopping them, and then I realized, oh yeah, half my shit doesn't help him. Like giving him Relentless Pursuit doesn't help him. So yeah, in certain matchups it's really bad, and in certain matchups it's like really good.
Yeah.
So for example, against Karma Control, like stealing their removal probably doesn't hurt them because they're just waiting to play Karma later. But yeah, the fact that he just draws your card is like fine on a 2-cost card. And it costs 1 less, so yeah, you can sometimes luck out and get some really good bullshit. So it's fine. It's fine. And I guess it says draw 1 just so it can like trigger the Twisted Fate thing.
I was thinking about some of the fun gimmicks you can do on people. So like the obvious one is you play it in response to Draven's biggest fan. And you and you steal Draven from the top of their deck. But again, matchup specific. And it's all going to be matchup specific.
Yeah,
I was also thinking about shit like Starlight Seer and Omen Hawk, but I sort of realized that it buffs the top unit, right? The top part of the deck might not be a unit; it might be a spell.
Yeah.
So you might be. So he might have just dumped like 6 spells in a turn, and Starlight Seer's just gone off on this top unit big time, and you think, "Ooh, I'm going to play Black Market Merchant." You're like, oh fuck, I drew a Brittle Steel.
Yeah, your opponent goes through all the effort to play Tusk Raider, doubles their shit. You just steal it, and then you play a big dude straight away.
But that would be sick.
Yeah.
But it's total chance, right? Still.
Yeah, it's like a meme card, man. Meme card.
But it's funny.
Like,
other practical applications people were talking about. Wouldn't it be funny if you like filled someone up with Teemo mushrooms? Like put 1,000 shrooms in their deck and then played this guy and picked one up of their cards, and you drew like 60 mushrooms and insta died.
yeah, like obviously you wouldn't be doing it in that deck.
I know, but wouldn't it be funny?
Yeah.
The other thing, fuck, I sidetracked myself so bad now. Nah, go ahead with whatever you were gonna say.
Yeah, no, like
Oh yeah, Maokai. People were saying Maokai as well. So you.
Oh, you can draw cards from deck to reduce the deck size. Yeah.
So you can play like 2 of these guys back to back after the Maokai turn, and then they go down to 2 cards.
Yes. So yeah. So it's like the question is, it's just like when it says you draw a card from the enemy deck, does it mean put a copy of that card into your hand, or does it mean you actually take the card? Right.
I think it means you take the card.
You take the card, right? All right. So here's the thing.
That's the whole application of it, right? Is you like take a card.
Yeah, but like the whole point of it is that it takes a card out of their deck, right? Now, the interesting thing against with control decks is that control decks sometimes only have limited number of win cons in their deck, right? And sometimes they're digging really hard to find their win con. So you can black market their ledger, so black market their Karina, and just never play it. And your opponent would be like trying to dig through where the fuck are my ledgers and Karinas and shit. And then, yeah, you know, that actually happens in games. That's why, like, with certain games, you have to run like max copies of your win con, even though you'll get to it.
Bro, what's with the hoons outside?
I think there's a lot of. Well, it's like I get people hooning in front of my house, like a lot of nights. Yeah. But I guess right now there's a lot of pent up testosterone with people being locked up and shit.
Yeah. This is gonna take me a really long time to edit.
Cool. No Rusherino.
See, I wanted to get it out tonight before Misfortune drops at like 2 o'clock this morning. Or next morning. But it's whatever.
To be honest, we could just after the fact just
Oh, well, we can finish these 2 cards off
like,
now. Like,
no, okay. Yeah, so we'll
now.
finish these. Yeah, we can finish these. All we have to do is just record us pretending to start a podcast halfway through.
We'll stay up
and
till
then we
2.
just. No. All we have to do is just. Yeah, all we have to do is just. Oh yeah, I guess we could if you want to, but yeah, we could just be like, oh yeah, you know, this week we'll talk about the Bilgewater cards or whatever, you know, or. Yeah.
Let's just finish this off real quick, and maybe I'll split it up into 2 parts.
Yeah.
And then I'll like tag Misfortune on at the second half of the second part, and I'll just make hour and a half videos.
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll just record like 2. Oh yeah, that's the end for today's video or some shit. Yeah.
All right, let's keep going. So we were talking about Black Market Merchant.
Yep.
I think I got everything out that I wanted to say about him.
Are we recording now?
Yep, we can just start now. Yeah.
Cool.
Go ahead.
So the next card to talk about is Pool Shark. 1 cost 1/2. When I'm summoned, draw 1 fleeting next round. That's so like okay. So with all these like draw fleeting cards, you really have to like curve your deck so that you just got a whole bunch of cheap dudes that you'll be able to like statistically play those cards on the following turn. So yeah, so like I like to see one of the issues with playing like too many 1s, 2s, and 3s is because like towards the mid game you just run out of cards in hand. But if you're playing a whole bunch of dudes like this, you can just like zerg out dudes.
Yeah.
Zerg dudes. Yeah, you know this guy might be alright in some sort of like aggro-y sort of deck where you're just like, oh yeah, just zerg more dudes. But yeah, I guess like the whole thing is that they're trying to like push this with Twisted Fate, but Twisted Fate has to like, oh, he's gonna die at 7 cards every single time. Yeah. I think this card is alright. And it says when he's summoned as well. So oh yeah, more loops and shit.
Yeah.
More loops. Yeah, no, like
I don't have much to say about this guy.
I think it's gonna be hard to find space for him in a deck, to be honest.
I even think
yeah.
in the aggro strat, like you're playing Noxus or something, wouldn't you rather play one of those like Noxus dudes that are going to do 3 damage to head for 1 mana?
Yeah. Yeah, so it's like 1 attack kind of hurts a lot more. If it was 2 attack 1 health, then much more like you could definitely play it in aggro, but like 1-2 kind of weak.
I guess that's just because they were trying to synergize it with Twisted Fate, not so much aggro decks.
Yeah.
Twisted Fate. I don't think they were intending Twisted Fate to be very aggro-y.
Except he's got quick attack and like low power. Yeah, no. Twisted Fate sucks, man. Yeah.
Alright. Fresh Gambler. 4 mana, 4/5. To play me, discard 2. Attack. So his triggers on attack. Draw 2 fleeting.
This card is overcosted. Like, okay, the way I see it, like, okay, so the way that this card seems to balance itself out is that, like, you're discarding 2 because you're going to be drawing 2. Like, you're going to be drawing 2, right? But the thing is that they're fleeting, so unless there's spells and you've got spell mana banked, those, it doesn't even matter that you're drawing 2, right? So you're not even getting value out of this card until the following turn when you play it. Yeah, so if you take into consideration that you don't draw 2 straight away, then you're paying 4 costs and discarding 2 for 4/5. That if it survives to the following turn's attack, then you get some effect, right? Yeah, this was like really bad. Like, this is really bad. If your opponent removes this, you probably lose a game. Yeah, like you would never play this against anything that could move. Like if you play this against Ionia, you lose. Yeah, you just play this. The will of Ionia. You've dicked yourself hard.
2 for nothing, and now if you want to play her again, you've discarded 4 cards.
Yeah. So yeah, she's really bad. Like really, really bad. Like really, really, really bad.
Yeah.
Like unless there's a way to cheat her in, yeah, she's really bad. Like,
I can only think of one way to play her that doesn't require you to discard, and that's an 8-cost Shadow Isles card that lets you play an ephemeral unit from hand, or lets you play a unit from hand for free, and it's ephemeral for the turn. But you've spent 8.
There's other things you can do with her. I'm pretty sure you could
discard Chump Wump Mushrooms.
If you can reduce the cost of her in your hand, you can play that Ionia spell that allows you to play a free cost. So yeah, but like you're jumping through too many hoops to play this chick. Basically, you don't ever want to like cast her. You want some way to cheat her out. Yeah.
Draven X's you can discard.
Yeah, okay, so what? It's like you play Chump, like you play like Chump Wumps and shit, and then play this guy to like, yeah.
I'm not sure about the Chump Wump, because the Chump Wump is taking up your 4-drop slot.
Yeah, like
and then you're playing her on 5.
Basically any deck that can just fill your hand with garbage, you can just like, pitch the garbage. Like, yeah, nah, like, yeah. Nah.
No.
Nah. Oh, okay, wait. One other thing though, right? So, when a card disappears from fleeting, is it considered discarded? So, for example, you know all those Piltover cards that are like, oh yeah, if this is discarded from your hand, cast it instead. So, like, if you play Brash Gambler, pitch like 2 of those Flame Chompers and shit, And then you attack with Brash Gambler. You draw 2 more cards, and let's say if they're like
you pull a jury rig and a vision.
Yeah, and the vision something. If you end your turn and those like go away by fleeting, are they considered discarded? Because if they're considered discarded, then this chip could just be like, oh yeah, the garbage.
So
yeah,
fleeting is highlighted.
Yeah.
I think I can go into the game and hover over fleeting to see if it actually says discard. What creates something that's fleeting?
Ezreal, right? Lux.
Lux, yep.
Yeah.
So if I go to Lux right now. Okay, cool. I own a Lux.
Yeah, she's a starter card.
Fleeting cards discard from hand when round ends.
Oh shit! Get those discard cards going. Just fleet that shit
You're
up.
gonna have so many jury rigs. Scrap scuttlers.
Yeah.
The counterfeit copies.
Wait, what? Counterfeit copies has a
No.
discard effect?
No. So counterfeit.
Oh,
copies
you use counterfeit copies to stack them into your deck.
To put more of those discard things in your deck. And just keep zerging in with her.
Yeah. Nah. Okay.
Have you seen the endless turn? So there's a way.
No.
There's a way to infinite your.
Oh
own
yeah,
turn with karma,
I heard that there was
counterfeit copies and.
Oh yeah.
Rummage.
Yeah, and rummage. Yeah.
So you just keep fucking.
Yeah, and you have to have that cloud
drinker on the field.
Cloud drinker or something. Yeah.
And he reduces the cost of rummage and counterfeit to 0. So you just keep doing this over and over again until your opponent surrenders.
Oh, okay.
Or you Flash of Brilliance into Pursuit of Perfection.
Okay, yeah. To be honest, if my opponent was doing that shit to try to stall me, I'll just see how good his endurance is. I'll just sit here.
Yeah.
Alright?
Swims did it on stream.
Yeah.
And the guy waited it out. It was an hour-long game.
Yeah, like, unless my opponent's got a macro or some shit. Yeah. But yeah. So, Brash Gambler, bad, except for in the very specific situation where...
And you've got Von Yip on the board.
Yeah, and it's where it's stupidly lol. Yeah.
Nice. Cool. So... Do you have anything else you want to say about these cards released with Twisted Fate, or about Twisted Fate himself? Is there any neat synergies that you've thought about?
The thing is that, like, all the stuff that you would, like... The thing is, Twisted Fate's leveled up side has some interesting synergies that you can pull off with stuff like Karma or Ezreal, but... The fact that his front side makes it so hard to level up, you need to build a very specific deck in order to level him up. And once you level him up, all those cards that you used to level him up are no longer in synergy with him. It's like gonna be real hard. Like, yeah, Twisted Fate on his front side just doesn't do enough. This card is probably going to need a buff at some point. Even after one buff, he's still probably not going to be playable.
In the trailer, they had on the leveled up side, like they were playing cards. They were playing burst spells to hit off all 3 cards at once.
Yeah.
But they're playing like Rush and Slumpworks map and like something else. And it's just like a bunch of shit that you. Like that they're only playing to trigger the cards?
Yeah, like, yeah.
Know, like, am I going to be filling my deck with just, like, garbage burst spells in order to, like, trigger these cards? That's why I think it's just better to play him at 4 and just get a spell out.
Yeah.
I know you disagree, and you think the flip side's way better, but...
No, okay, like the flip side is good, but you'll never get to the flip side. That's my issue, right?
I think the flip side's not that good, but I also think you'll never hit it. But I think you wouldn't want to hit it. I don't think it provides you enough that you would be like, oh man, I really want to level up Twisted Fate because it's really going to help me like gain a significant advantage over someone.
The thing is that his effect is like a crappier Ezreal. His level up is way more difficult than Ezreal, and his stat lines are basically as bad as Ezreal. So the question is, why not just play Ezreal?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that's his issue. But the value that you get out of Twisted Fate on the front is just really bad. Like you're paying 4 for like a 2/2, a quick attack 2/2 that has one of these random effects. Well, not random, one of these effects. But all of these effects feel like they're like too costly sort of value effects.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess it's like getting a 2/2 as well as a 2 cost skill spell effect technically puts him all right on curve. But the thing is like he's not a quick play card. He's not fast and he's not a burst, and these skills are like they're on the stack, they're fast speed, so and you need a whole block of 4. You can't like even play him with spell mana. If Twisted Fate had some sort of keyword that said that you can play him with spell mana or some shit, then I could see him being this cost and this stated, but like as he is right now, it's just like too cumbersome. Yeah.
Why don't we have a unit that says you can play me with spell mana, or like specifically a champion?
Yeah. Like
I could get on board with Twisted Fate, I think, if he let you play him with spell mana.
Yeah, because like the earliest you can play him is still turn free, and playing him on turn free is still fine. Yeah. If there was a dude that could be played with spell mana, he'd probably be like what, 7 costed or 8 costed. So you could like probably play like a 7 costed 7/8 or 7/6 or some shit, but you can like curve it on like your free 4 turn. Yeah. But yeah, either way, Twisted Fate too restrictive, and even though he's got all this support, all the support's not even good. And he's gonna die before he gets there. He's never gonna make it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
All right.
Just don't get your hopes up, kids. You're not gonna be an astronaut when you grow up, and that's just like trying to level up Twisted Fate.
Comparing Twisted Fate to becoming an astronaut.
It's about the same chances.
I'm a big fan. What's going on, guys? It's Victor, and I'm just sort of tacking this on the end of the 3-hour long fucking podcast. Just to let you all know, I guess, that we sort of stopped recording pretty much where it ends, because we were waiting for Misfortune to come out, and then we were going to continue. But a lot of sort of things happened. I had to run away to work, and Grand J wanted to grind the ranked ladder to make Masters before season ends, which he was 1 win away from. So you got to feel bad for the guy. It was 1 win away, and then the servers went down for ranked. But the new patch is here. I've been playing it heaps, and we are very excited to make more content about this game in the future. Hopefully something weekly with me and him, and by myself. Could probably throw in some things here and there. I can't really provide the greatest card game commentary, I will admit, but I'm sure there's some fun little gimmicky things that we can put together. Anyway, thanks very much if you watched the entire show. Hope you're enjoying the game, and I'll see you in the next one.